start doing this because I need to record this. But Radia the other day tweeted this massive Google Docie out. And this is going to be taking up the majority of my time and potentially me playing Peak today. So there's that. But Radia tweeted this out, would have been on the 6th, and you can see it right here. I never anticipated having to make a statement like this, but I can no longer bear living in fear of someone who once called themselves a sister. And she then continued on right here. The abuse, isolation, harassment, and endangerment of my safety and distribution of my personal identifying information has left me and everyone I care about physically and emotionally exhausted. I did not want to put out a public statement. I do not like internet drama and try to avoid it like the plague. I'm speaking out now because every other attempt to get Adora to halt her attacks, correct the record, and reach an amicable end have failed. And it has become clear that I am not the only person she has wronged in this manner. I am sorry to be sorry to all involved that things have reached this point and that you were kept in the dark for so long. I am beyond tired. Now, I had to do some research on who these people are, and I should have pulled this part up earlier, but Radia here was good friends with Adora Bunny. If you take a look at my screenshot or my thumbnail right now, you can see that they were very close, and they have very wonderful assets, very wonderful assets. And you can even come over here to Radia's, like, YouTube channel, and here they are right here, literally together. I'm muting it right now, but this is them together. They were like really close. They were really best friends with each other. And apparently there was abuse going on. And the other part of this, and sorry, I have my my background going on right now. Where is that? That should be right here. Okay. The other part of this was that they were part of a VTuber group called STEM that I think it was STEM. I could be getting the name wrong. But through all that, there was some craziness going on. I've seen some people come out in support of Radia. I've seen some people criticize some of the stuff that Radia was doing. I do have Adora's response to this as well, but we might have to hit that up tomorrow because, again, this is 93 pages long. And I can already tell you right now, there's going to be some stuff that I skip over because I was watching some people try to react to this, and there's some things that aren't that important to the grand discussion. I get why they put it in there, but it's psychology and you're not a psychologist. We can look at the evidence and we can deduce it ourselves. But here is the thing. Adora abuse allegations, trigger warning, Minecraft attempt, psychological abuse, doxing, gaslighting. Over the past 2 months, Twitch streamer and VTuber Adora Bunny has engaged in what appears to be a campaign of active slander and harassment against her former friend, fellow Twitch streamer, and VTuber Radioactive. For reasons that are known only to Adora and change with each telling, this campaign has been largely kept from public view and has relied almost entirely on the spread of malicious and fictitious rumors, veiled threats, and whispers in people's ears, specifically larger, more influential members of the Twitch and VTubing community, and what appears to be an attempt to end the streaming career of Radioactive. Yeah, there's a lot of legalese in here, Legatus. There's going to be a lot of legalese. This campaign has been largely kept, or I think I already read that part, yep. The end result of this has been immense damage to Radia's mental health, personal relationship, career, financial situation, and the near loss of her life. Oh, that's sad. And I mean that legitimately. I'm not trying to say that in a awful tone here. That's legitimately sad. Radia is not the only person who has suffered at the hands of this kind of attack by Adora, but in the interest of not speaking for others, this document will focus primarily on Radia. This document has been compiled in an attempt to bring Adora's behavior into the public light. For the sake of privacy, it will only cover events relating to Radia and contains testimonies, screenshots, and receipts of not only Adora's behavior, but of the consequences her actions have had and others, and specifics to the 2 months of hell that she has put Radia through, which almost ended in the most tragic of circumstances. This has been an exceedingly difficult time for all of us, and if anything, we hope that Adora will finally realize the kind of person she has become and take steps to improve herself. Well, I can tell you guys this right now from some of the evidence I've seen out of this. Adora was going to originally say it in her, I think it was her Discord, and I found some rat dumps to take a look at this. Adora said that they were going to be working on this for 2 weeks after this doc came out, and put it out yesterday, and it kind of looks like they're going to end their VTubing career. So I don't think they're going to be correcting the record. But again, I haven't looked at Adora's doc yet. Take that as you will. I haven't seen Adora's thing. I saw like the first sentence. Don't even remember what it said. And some screenshots. That's about it as of right now. We have to go through Radia's doc first before we can even tackle Adora's doc, because Adora's doc is in response to Radia's doc. So, yay! Gotta love Google Docies. Forward color keynotes. Before continuing, I would like to explicitly note and openly state that this document was written with the aid and support of both Digital Vagrant and Laserpig, whom without their aid, I would never have been able to, on my lonesome, do everything required to create a comprehensive document of just my situation. Statements written with only my voice are colored in deep blue, while anything solely from Laserpig is in light green. The rest of the document is in black and is collaborative work. I extend my deepest apologies for possibly an unconventional approach to a Google Doc, but I have delayed or canceled multiple appointments the past 2.5 months due to the burdens this situation has placed upon me, and this negligence has deteriorated my health further, in addition to the undue stress placed upon me. I do know that Radia has some immunocompromised issues, so there's that, and some other things that are going on. So yeah, there's a lot here. Ages. My day job comes first, even before my health, as it is what ultimately provides my access to my required healthcare. I can't risk any decline in performance during a critical time of year in the industry. This, along with my own attempt on my Minecrafting myself, rendered me unable to pursue the creation of this document in isolation. I thank you for understanding as I offer full transparency. This document was not made solely on my own, nor was even conceived until after the events of my attempted Minecrafting. Radioactive, who is in blue. So let me remember this. My voice is in deep blue, Laserpig is in light green, so we'll have to just remember this. But we start off here with this screenshot. I believe this is from a Discord, but we have Adora Bunny. If you need proof of how it makes no sense, just go look at her LinkedIn yourself. You'll see VTuber stuff quietly hidden into it as of recent of this year, LOL. I don't even know what her IRL name is, LOL, so I can't even look. Well done. Do your promise not? Oh, well, do you promise not to leak it, LOL. So this was from 6/5, so that would have been June. So this was all from June. I don't know what that's in response to, but let's just keep moving forward. If this was her sharing private information, what the fuck? You don't do that. You just don't. Here's the summary. Initial summary: accusations, Adora, accusations, Radia injuries, reason for putting out a document, documentation notes, discussion notes, additional victims, ousting from Project STEM, synopsis, initial confrontation. Jesus Christ, there's so much! Doxing personal information, anonymous account of doxing. There's apparently some things of like claims of faking sickness and stuff like that. Current state of affairs, ongoing effects, early signs of abuse, request of Jesus Christ. Initial summary, accusations. As this document is extensive and may not have the time to digest it in its entirety, below will provide a brief summarization of Adora's actions and the effects they had on Radia. And I'm going to do a thing real quick. Give me a moment, chat, because this is... Stop it. Stop it. Stop it, computer. Stop it, PC. I don't want to be looking over here the whole time. I want to look straight at it. I might not be able to address chat as fast as possible doing this, but I would prefer to do it this way. Give me a moment. There we go. There we go. Ah! I closed OBS. I closed. Here. Off. Okay. As this document made summarization, Adora's Adora's actions. I could speak. Casually doxing Radia's name, background, and personal information to multiple uninvolved third parties in pursuit of her slander campaign. Authored the creation of a list of grievances without what could be referred to as a cancel doc, which was both over-exaggerated and completely imagined / falsified, which she forwarded to outside parties as truth after doctoring them to remove anything related to herself. By the way, shout out to Static. How are you? I'm mobile and can't tell if I got censored or not. I see you right now, buddy. You look fine. Arranged for an intervention under false pretenses, which was a poorly diagnosed cover to ambush Radia in a format she could not escape from, and designed to maximize humiliation and mental anguish. And I'm going to do another thing real fast. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. I'm going to... Can I stop? Can I stop that? I don't think I can. Well, we're going to be seeing like notifications like that pop up for a little bit. Let me do this one more time. Where is window capture? Okay. Correct. This. Greatest looking. Decent for right now for what I needed to do. What I needed to do right now, this position, studio mode. Okay, this is what we're going to be doing for right now, just so I don't have those notifications pop up. Let's see, we stopped right here. Arrange the intervention. Demanding Radia take a forced break from streaming for an intentionally vague amount of time under threat of being thrown out of Project STEM. Used incredibly flimsy justification to prove Radia wasn't sorry as justification to force Radia out of Project STEM. Engaged in deceptive and manipulative language to place all of the blame for the invented wrongdoings solely on Radia, while engaging in deliberate deception that she was doing this out of concern for Radia's well-being. Engaged in a sustained campaign of slander across the content sphere to countless content creators, both mutual friends and an unknown number of uninvolved parties, attempting to paint Radia as manipulative, greedy, content rotted and compulsive liar that had falsified her entire history of malicious ends. Attempted and succeeding in isolating Radia from her entire social sphere and support network for the sake of making her learn her lesson for perceived slights and imaginary wrongdoings. Accused Radia of falsifying her medical history for personal gain. Accused Radia of falsifying her education and career for personal gain. Accused Radia of money hoarding. Digging into Radia's personal background through all available public resources and using it to build a false narrative of Radia's dishonesty. Attempted to sabotage of Radia's romantic relationship as part of the slander campaign, attempting to provide her partner with heavily editorialized and abusive account of events when Radia was unable to speak up for her own defense, twisting her version of what transpired based on who she was speaking to based on what she believed would be most sympathetically received, ensuring no person ever received the same story as another. active denial of these accusations and attempt to play the victim when third parties began to investigate outside of her ability to control them or threaten them. Radia's injuries suffered immense psychological anguish and agony as her social network was forcibly ripped away from her, was reduced to tears, and began apologizing for things she did not do in an attempt to keep friendships she valued and placate someone she believed was her best friend. Needed to be hospitalized 4 days after the initial onset due to heart palpitations, extreme stress due to attempts to be private and professional about the matter due to not wanting to bother others. Oh, extreme stress. Okay, extreme stress. I wrote that wrong. Had personally identifying information leaked to outside uninvolved parties by someone she perceived, trusted, and espoused as a sister, suffered isolation from her friends and loved ones due to slander and rumor mongering, considered on multiple occasions leaving content entirely to appease Adora and defuse the situation. Delay in her ability to re-enter education plans due to the situation, resulting in an irreversible loss of significant amount of financial aid. Jesus Christ. Why would you have to delay anything for this? There's some stuff I've heard so far. I didn't hear it all, but some things just don't make sense, and I don't know if it's just how somebody's brain works as to why they did some of these actions, because I don't see why you need to do a lot of the stuff. Like, if some of my friends told me to stop streaming or stuff, I'd be like, fuck off. Yeah, I'm not going. Bye. Loss of her roommate, who Radia considers to be family, the sudden drop in her mental health, and sharp drop in income left her unable to support their college plans. Oh, God. Severe decline in income due to combination of slander campaigns and the sharp decline in her mental health and inhibiting her ability to stream. Ongoing fear of trauma from believing nobody would believe her if she told her side of the story. Harassment of people who even spoke to her at a convention, leading to further isolation. Nearly successful Minecrafting attempt due to extreme isolation and genuine belief that there was no other way out. Okay, that's a lot so far. Where are we in the grand scheme of no, we're only on page 7. We're only on page 7, chat. 7. Reasons for putting out a document. Prior to the creation of this document, Adora was granted every courtesy possible. She has been made fully aware of the damage she has caused and of the potential repercussions this would create. She was spoken to by a number of different individuals attempting to discourage her from her actions, including Radia herself. She has been granted every opportunity to speak, to explain herself, to receive her decision, and to go on with her life unharmed with no consequences and nothing made public. LOL, then Lil was censored. I don't know what's going on there, Static. This accumulated in a final call last week with a neutral third-party observer between Radia and Adora to attempt to find some way to right the wrongs done with a minimal public damage to career as possible. She made the decision each time this was offered to double down on her behavior towards Radia. She has further now begun to deny any of her actions. This document is a last resort, as she refuses to take any kind of accountability, nor is she willing to admit to any sort of fault. Furthermore, the act of compiling this document has made it evident that this is not a one-off vendetta. It is a pattern of abuse behavior that has continued for years across multiple people. Oh my lord, this is gonna take forever. Many of the people spoken to during this process indicated a genuine fear of Adora and a desire to remain anonymous or be left out due to fear of becoming her next target. It was concluded it would therefore be irresponsible not to make this information public, regardless of the personal stress, as to remain silent would ensure would ensure that this continued to happen. Chat, I know practically nobody in this document, so I guess I'm going to be a neutral third party looking at it. And right now, I'm going to be honest, I'm upset with Radia. I'm upset with Radia because there's I would like to get directly into the accusations. There's a lot of like bullet points and stuff here to try to just like preface what's going to be happening, but come on. There's some things that we just need to agree upon. That this whole format that we're doing right here, can we just get into the accusations? Do we have to do this whole like pre-described, here's all this like information to prep you on what's going to be discussed in this? Can we just start the discussion? Okay, can we just start the discussion? I don't need the summary of events, just give me the events. This is why this thing's so long, is because you have so many areas like this where it's, you know, documentation notes, discussion notes, all these little things, reasons for putting this doc together. This should have been higher up. I didn't need all these things. Like we could have gone through this a whole lot faster and been at least, I know for sure, chat, I know for sure if we had less of these things right now, we would potentially be, I would say, at least 10 pages less. So I know one of the pages that's going to be coming up. God, I just want to get through it. While significant time and effort has been made to document what has occurred and produce as much corroborating evidence as possible, there are specific limitations where information is not able to be listed. VODs that have expired due to the length of time it took this situation to progress to this point, as a document of this nature was not considered until nearly 2 months had passed. Well, you should have probably been saving those VODs. Names/statements that have been left out due to fear of retaliation from Adora. Names/statements that have been left out due to fear of retaliation from social media. Names that have been left out due to unrelated professional obligations and concerns. Testimonies that could not be included due to time constraints on the part of those giving them. It must be noted that significant amount of Adora's accusations were done over VCs and without warning, likely deliberately. During the compilation of this document, there was a noticeable shift in the amount of DMs sent versus things spoken over VCs, likely as Adora sensed that she was leaving an incriminating paper trail. You know what, if you're going through something like this, I don't know if you can notice it beforehand, but if you do start seeing the things, maybe start recording those VCs, just saying. This document is solely aimed at addressing Adora's actions. All other mentioned parties should be assumed to be innocent or misinformed. Discussion notes. While it would be irresponsible to speculate on the reasoning and psychology behind Adora's actions, this document will at times include discussion and analysis, I can speak, of the language used in particular pieces of evidence to highlight the specific language and tactics of abuse. And I already know at least one of them, and the moment I see it, I'm just gonna bolt right past it because I already get it. There's like a clinical diagnosis of what was going on there. I just need the evidence, please. I don't need this. I don't need this stuff, okay? Please, I don't need it. Just give me the accusations. Because if you give me the evidence, I could see that stuff. I don't need you telling me what's going on here. Your goal here is to just lay out the evidence. What you kind of do here is you steer people in a certain direction. If I just look at the evidence and ignore what you guys are saying is happening here, I could potentially come to my own conclusion on what is happening here. That's something that you should have been done, and that would have cut out so much time. This is necessary to give readers who may not be familiar with them context, as these actions are using subtle and coercive, I'm saying that word right, rather than overt, used to wear down someone's self-esteem over time until they can be isolated and controlled. For readability and due to them all coming from the same author, these sections will be marked in green. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to probably ignore most of them. Additional victims. During the course of assembling this document, we have been able to identify at least one other victim in Adora's abuse. There are likely more we have been unable to identify, as this document only has the authority to address the actions taken against Radia. We will not be discussing the abuse visited upon other individuals. However, at minimum, there are credible allegations of additional doxing, financial abuse, false accusations, slander, social ostracization, emotional abuse. Okay, we got through that stuff, guys. How we doing, chat? How we doing? Holy shit, this is gonna take forever. There was a red video that just came up. I would prefer to watch that. Synopsis. For those who with limited time, below are listed bullet points of what occurred during this phase of Adora's campaign. Can we just get through? This is why there's so much! Luring Radia into a poorly planned 3v1 intervention/interrogation where she was accused of being ungrateful, a compulsive liar, a content thief, and having falsified her medical condition for monetary gain. Radia was sent into a days-long emotional breakdown during which Adora dictated a dishonest version of events to both her friends and family. Adora doctored a document that purported to represent the facts of the events to remove most references to herself. Adora extensively attempted to drive a wedge in Radia's relationship with her partner through extensive disinformation provided when he was in an emotionally compromised state. I don't even want to try to diagnose this. Why would he be in an emotionally compromised state due to any of this, and why would Adora even do that? I need a lot. Radia was forced to leave Project STEM after an unrelated comment on her own stream, which was being monitored, was used as proof of her lack of regret. Initial confrontation. Adora's actions began after Anime North. Radia was completely unaware that anything was wrong and believed the trip had been a huge success and was immensely happy at getting to spend time with her friends. Without her knowledge, Adora had involved Fenrir Mori and Pomato Master. I read word good. The other two members of Project STEM. It began to begin compiling a list of specific incidents where Radia said things they considered insensitive or hurtful. Well, I mean, I've said things that are insensitive and hurtful, and I don't apologize for it. Or had not been fully honest with her about her personal details. While all three members were involved in this, it is unlikely the other two members were aware of the extent of Adora's intentions regarding this. Rather than addressing these things one-on-one calmly, Radia was then lured into a voice call in the Project STEM server under the guise of an emergency meeting on May 27th, 2025. Upon entering this call, what transpired was an incredibly poorly conceived intervention that operated more as an interrogation, as perceived lies were fired off at Radia and receipts demanded as they went down the list of infraction by infraction. I need some water because holy crap. Radioactive. I hope travels home were safe. Adora. Home safe, and I take Finn to the airport tomorrow. Hope you've rested well. Glad the trip home was uneventful at the border. I got a lot of rest yesterday. I slept like 11 hours last night. Also, Sunday is Meat's debut, so I'm just checking with him on length of stream to try and help support with our raids. Hey, we need to have an emergency STEM meeting right now. Can you jump in working in STEM? Sure. While no recording of this call exists, third-party sources have confirmed that they had involved parties outside of Project STEM for the beginning of this and had already begun slandering Radia's reputation to others. They were also advised that such a format was a poor idea and went forward with it regardless. The end result was Radia being forced to stand humiliated and in near tears outside in her gym's parking lot as she was raked over the coals for things she had no idea were bothering others. These accusations included compulsive lying, a lack of gratitude, actions that were bad optics for the group, and an emotional appeal for Radia to take a break. By the time this conversation had ended, Radia was so hysterical she could say nothing in her own defense and had fully capitulated to the narrative as it was represented to her. It took several days before she was calm enough to explain her side of the story. Up until this time, Radia's partner, friends, and family received no information regarding what had occurred outside of the narrative being communicated by Adora. I'm half dead inside. A third party has confirmed that by this point, all three members of Project STEM had privately recognized that the intervention had been a poor choice. No admission of this was ever made. Post-confrontation. Comms immediately aftermath. Unbeknownst to the other members of Project STEM, Adora privately communicated to significantly more hostile demands to Radia of her own volition. The full documentation of the messages has been redacted due to sharing of personal details for the sake of brevity, and a significant selection of screenshot excerpts will be provided here. I will say I do not, this is from May 27th. I will say I do not think June 1st is a long enough break. This is genuinely a make or break situation in our friendship. Ray, and I do genuinely love you, but I'm hurt and don't feel like I fully trust you anymore, and that needs to be rebuilt. And I want to rebuild it with you so badly because of all the good times that we've had together. You need to recenter and change your approach and connection with streaming. I want to see you become better in this stuff so I can trust you fully. Oh, so this is all redacted. So I don't even know what this is being said. No, all I could see is this is her saying you need to take more time off, which it's not really her position to make those accusations or claims. I get that you're in a group together and stuff like that, but unless you're like her manager, her leader, any of that shit, you don't really have any purpose for like doing this shit. Like I don't get why you are the one that has to like silence anybody. But again, this is just me. I'm using common sense. I'm so much. Been altered to remove personal information of Adora and reference to an uninvolved third party. Radioactive. 8:39. Let me just double check. 8:18. So this is about 20 minutes later. I love you too, and I've not been doing amazing since decade-long propose, lost and fear. Decade-long propose, lost and fear gained afterwards. Oh wait, no, I misread that entirely. I love you too, and I've noticed I've not been doing amazing since blank. Honestly, there was a lot of decade-long propose, loss, and fear gained afterwards, blank, 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 blank. While I can't take the entire month off, that just isn't feasible regardless of how much OT I have unless I do disability leave, which I reserve for yearly surgeries. My overall schedule is light. I'm going to keep what I have scheduled because it at least is a scheduled social time that breaks up my week, but I'm not going to be overbooking myself or present 5+ days a week on stream, my own or others for a long time. This screenshot has been altered to remove personal information, and we got more. I don't know if this is more redacting or what. You really need to detach from streaming, Radia. I say this out of a place of love and concern. I'll give you more time to process, but I'm going to be firm on this. I don't trust you right now. I don't feel comfortable having you on my stream, doing content with you, and you are my friend, and I love you for you. I want the good I see in you to be a part that's there, but it's hard when I keep feeling lied to. Please stop lying to me, and please recenter, meditate. I feel like I'm reading that wrong, and refocus. You need it. Burnout is the real killer. Wait, but you're. Where's the evidence? Burnout. Where's the burn? Are you saying that she's burnout, or are you trying to get her to stop because you're afraid of her being burnout? But what if she likes streaming a lot? I'm so confused. And if you come back quickly, it is over because it means you didn't learn what's wrong here. This is our make or break moment, and I hate saying that, but I never lied to you once, but I don't know where you're lying to me, and that hurts a lot. Wait, but if you're accusing her of lying, but you don't know where you're lying, I'm lost. I feel stupid, but I'm following along. I don't know if this is the document's fault or if this is just gaslighting. A lot redacted. I don't like hearing you told Kono I don't help you enough. I am not perfect, but I genuinely give you my everything. I just don't want you to lie or feel like I'm being lied to. That's all. We can fix this, but I need you to understand what is wrong here so we can. It's going to be a long road. This is the start. I want this to work. You are family to me. Change in this regard. There's a lot of redacted, but I might need to see what's redacted there because that does look incredibly manipulative. Portions of the screenshot have been redacted due to mentions of third parties or private info of Adora's that does not need to be shared. Well, I get that, but this kind of comes off like it comes off manipulative as is. You might need to, I don't know. Understood. I'll leave you to your evening and let you prepare for tomorrow. This isn't meant to sound snide. It just comes off as blunt. But I do mean to have a decent evening. Heart. I won't necessarily be around as I'll be giving you all distance, but I'll be in DMs if needed. This isn't something I feel I even have the fundamental ability to fix at the moment. Of course, this isn't me telling you we won't talk because this is part of the process. You are my friend. You are someone I view as a sister, and if you weren't, I wouldn't give you the same talk. Well, that's obviously redacted because I can see that K is cut up. Alter to remove personal information. Kind of static, but it's still just the beginning. This is May 27th. I'm not even halfway through. Static, you're a brother to me. That's why I'm never going to treat you like this. If somebody came to me and said that they're my brother and they want me to do something like that and they're not actually my brother, I'm going to ignore the shit out of them. May 28th. Hey, we're moving on, guys. We're moving on. Going to say this now. I think you generally need a full social cleanse right now and detox. No Discord, not even your own community. No Twitter, no Twitch chat, nothing. You have an unhealthy tie to it, and the more you interact with it right now, the unhealthier connection you have to streaming will continue, and you'll let it enable bad behavior. I hope I don't see any messages for a bit, and you communicate with loved ones. You plan to do that so you can still hang out with IRL folks. This is genuinely a serious moment, Ray, and I don't want to lose you as someone I love. Please rest so you can recenter and not tie content to an integral part of your heart. You're more than that. Jeremy, you're like family. You need a change to make me happy. Fuck off, Cal! Eat my booty. Eat my booty hole. And again, if you tell me to quit social media for fears of all this stuff, I'm going to tell you to F off. I'll quit social media and take my cleanses when I want to. Usually my social media cleanse personally are on Mondays because I'm tired after my first day back to work. Jesus Christ. You have my phone number. You can text me and others there. We can even have phone calls to check in during it. This honestly feels like this honestly feels more like, I'm trying to think what the term was again. Oh, a parasocial relationship that got way out of hand. That's what this sounds more like. I'm honestly at the point I find it easier to leave than to watch everything fall apart more. I want to see that. I just want my old friend back. That unprompted of nothing gave support and money. Wait. That unprompted of nothing gave support and money when I was sick. Not the one worrying about numbers and money from stream. I mean, you really, like, people worry about numbers all the time. I mean, I even look at my numbers, don't get me wrong. I try not to, but it happens. I would say there's a lot of people that, like, that's decent advice, but I don't know the context to it, and I don't know, like, the actions that have been being taken that have basically led to this, so as a third party looking in, this kind of looks like decent advice, but, and again, it looks like more was redacted. I just don't see a place for me right now in anything, let alone my presence making anything better now or in the future. I don't have any faith in my ability to do so anymore. I don't even want people in person near me at the moment because I have no trust in my ability to not make basic human activity go awry. How do you, like, unless Adora is, like, next to Radia the entire time, how do you even ensure that this is going on? Like, full detox of social media. I'm sorry, I have a phone. How can you tell that I'm not on, like, an alt account going through everything and engaging with people? Like, seriously, think that shit through. Maybe you're not streaming because that's easy to figure out, but how do you know that I don't have alts to still engage or talk or track what's going on social media? How? I don't get this. Like, I would just do it. Screw off. You're not my mom. Adora Bunny. Figure I'd remind, but you so blah, 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 blah. Figured I remind, but so you can focus on stuff, and just for the sake of our friendship, I don't have you down for any collabs in June and won't be coming on as well until July at the earliest. So you don't feel obligated to stream because of me. So if there's anything I'm scheduled for, please take me off of it. That's kind of shitty. Also, hope you didn't get too hard hit by Concred. Also, I hope you didn't get hit too hard by Concred. I'm just thinking of leaving. I don't have it in my to stay a month in unplanned isolation as everything slowly degrades. I'm not allowed to be around even in any capacity, whether it be for comfort or socialization. This isn't even about streaming. I'm just not supposed to be around. Well, I mean, you can be around. You're choosing not to, and I get, like, I don't get this mentality. Truthfully, I don't. Like, I don't get why people won't. What power does Adora have over you? And maybe I'm just, using my brain here, and because I'm a third party looking in, I'm not getting this, like, what power does she have over you? I'm not seeing, like, these things. Like, why are you even listening to her? Like, if she's telling you not to engage on streams, not to do all this, what's stopping you? Is it a fear of, like, losing a friend? As the third party here who really doesn't know much about these people, I don't get it. I'm not seeing why you didn't do, why you just, like, played along. Like, what was stopping you from doing solo streams? What was stopping you from having an alt account? What was stopping you from even watching her content? And to be this isolated, I'm not seeing how you were isolated. Like, and I'm not like, if any of Radius fans are watching this on the re-upload or anything like that, I'm being truthful here, okay? There's some pieces of this that I just don't have, that I'm not seeing that moment. Because, like, when I'm thinking somebody trying to, you know, isolate you and not let you engage, I'm thinking of somebody in your personal life, in IRL, who's taking this stuff away from you and refusing to let you engage. Like, I'm not seeing where the thing is that keeps you from streaming. The fear of losing a friend, okay, maybe. But then who's stopping you from making that alt account to, like, interact otherwhere in other regards? Like, you might not stream, but you could alt account so you could watch your friends' streams. You could alt account to engage in Discords. You can alt account to go on Twitter. Like, there's ways to go about doing this. I don't get this. First video on the new channel, over 200 legatus. Oh, that's nice, Static. That's nice. So, like, again, if anybody who actually, like, watch these people engage with Project STEM sees this at all, please just don't be afraid to, like, DM me or give me, like, further information, because it's just not clicking for me personally. Radioactive. I don't know what to believe in. I'm certainly not a good person, and I've never been under the impression that I am in any way a particularly good person. That's kind of dark. That's dark. Nobody is a good person. We are all people. A big thing for me was realizing I need to be a person who does good things. It's what helped me a lot to work on myself. You've done bad things, but it doesn't mean you're a bad person. I've done bad things too, but the more and more good things we do, the better we will be. We can't rest on our I don't even know what that word is. Don't even try. I think laurels. I think it's supposed to be morals, but we can't rest on our morals or laurels, or I don't freaking know. Ever and think we are good people, but also thinking we are bad isn't helpful. I remember when I had COVID and you immediately swooped in to help me unasked. That was a good thing. You do good things. I know. Is this just women? Is this women behavior? Is that why I'm not even understanding it? I didn't think that was a good thing. I just felt normal to do. It just felt normal to do. Even things supposedly good by definition, I get hurt or punished for at times. I even felt I've done good, so to speak. I've just done what I should. I mean, I tried to do something good this week and it bit me in the butt. So yeah, don't do good things. Good things hurt people. Sorry, I'm lashing out because I'm so lost. This is a weird codependency going on here. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Static, because I'm not. This is codependency that I'm like, my head is broke. Just, ow! I hit my mic, sorry. My head is like, I'm having trouble figuring it out because I don't think. I've been in a bad codependent relationship myself at one point in time. And to be honest with you, the reason that one was bad was because we were IRL. Like, I'm not seeing how, because this is Discord and online and you're not IRL, I don't see how this codependency is working out this way. Like, it makes more sense for that to happen IRL and not on the internet. But again, I need something here. So if people that know these people a little bit more or know the interactions more see this, please don't feel bad to go into the comment section and call me a stupid person. Like, I probably am here. There's probably things I'm not privy to that I just don't know. Radioactive. I just don't know what any of you want. I haven't done anything but my day job, sleep, scheduled therapy, and sit on thoughts because I fear doing anything else. You don't play games? I don't get it. I don't know what is good enough punishment to atone. How much should I give up to be worthy? It's ambiguous and unattainable in my mind. It's not about punishment or atoning. It's about getting better. I don't want any more lies, and and want to be able to trust again. It doesn't mean if you ever get caught in a lie again, our friendship is over. I just want you to take accountability when you are, apologize, and then do it less. It also just means if something is off, I'm going to just ask for receipts for a while. What the fuck? Why do you need receipts of anything? Like hey, Static, I feel off in the way you're acting. I need receipts of all your DMs for the past month. Why? Don't you trust me? And then do it, like I did with my dad. Wait, what? You did that with your dad? Why? I also just want to see you feel general gratitude for the good things in your life. Those are the main two things. I also just want your content brain rot fought against. I also don't want to see you complaining about things like money with folks that are less fortunate, or expressing jealousy towards others that have less than you, or folks who love you. I also want to see you do your own thing when it comes to content and not copy others or move things around or act weird. Just stick to a schedule of days and do the things you think of, not things you think you need to copy or emulate out of non-existent obligation. Those are the main things I'll reiterate. This will be my last message for the day. Hug. That's, well, I mean, it is. Well, no, it's 11:14 a.m. and you're already ending the conversation. That's mean. That's mean. You're leaving your friend out to dry? Fuck you. You're women. You guys are supposed to talk to each other constantly. Men do this. I don't know the last time I DM'd Static. I don't. I think Thursday. But like I'm reading this, there's some things like, yeah, no, don't copy others. Do your own thing. Go your own way. You'll find your path. Like, that's smart. That's good advice. But you did this to your dad? It's your dad. Why? You don't have to answer, obviously, but I'm not supposed to be around for I don't know how long. How am I even supposed to stick to a schedule for a schedule of days when I'm not even allowed back regardless of it? I'm doing anything with you all or not. How do you even want me to prove myself in isolation? Really, I don't feel I'm allowed to do anything, for it will mean I'm not sorry enough or trying hard enough if I dare to do anything online. There isn't a way to prove anything is improving if I'm not supposed to exist in any capacity around the space. It's not as if you all exist around me physically. Yeah, it's not, so you could just go off and do things. They're not around you physically, so what is the thing stopping you? That's the part I'm trying to figure out. What's stopping you? Legitimately. They don't have access to your computer, your phone, or anything like that. What's stopping you from still doing that? And I'm not trying to, like, defend Adora here. I'm not... That whole conversation of receipts was a form of manipulation. Yeah, I could see that. Like, I could see the obvious manipulation. I could see that. I'm trying to figure out how Radia fell for it. That's what I'm trying to see, because I'm not... Like, this moment when they're like, we're not in IRL, we're not around each other physically, so what's stopping you? That should be the question that gets asked. The other will be the perpetual victim of everything. These are children. I don't disagree. I'm not disagreeing here. And again, Adora did put out her doc. We will be going over that hopefully tomorrow. It's 43 pages, so at least there's that. I could give her that credit. I'm tired and I've had to take on a lot within a short period of a few months. It's not been managed the best, obviously, and it's resulted in constantly feeling illogical emotions or the omnipresent fear of losing everything I ever worked for. I don't have it in me to live like I used to, where everything was uncertain, even food. All I've done is work so I could one day not fear and maybe rest. It is a deep fear when when I'm this overwhelmed. I'll talk more tomorrow, maintaining my boundary of the last message. Well, you kind of broke it. So why aren't you consider her your sister? So why are you God damn it, you're being a twat. You are being the twat. I can see like I'm criticizing Radia. Okay, I'm criticizing Radia because my brain is not working here and I don't have all the evidence, obviously. But I can also see where Adora's being a twat. It's pretty obvious you're being a twat. You're just telling her not to make content for an undisclosed amount of time. You're saying she can't engage online. You're telling her all this stuff over fears of basically like ending each other's friendships. And then you're not even communicating with her. Like, that is twat behavior. So what purpose does she have? Like, the problem is, like, the barrier stopping her is non-existent. Unless it's like fear of losing all of her friends and her community, which, if that's your fear, they weren't your real friends to begin with. Like, you have the capability of going off and doing your own thing. But again, I'm not in that community. I'm not a part of these people. I barely even know who Stim is. I only heard about this week, and well, it seems like it's no longer around. But I know I just left it there so I would not forget. Otherwise, I would unfortunately forget entirely. Well, then you engaged again, woman. Quit saying you're not going to be engaging and then engaging. May 31st. Nah, I get that. In reality, if I could make past Adora do anything, it would be just deal with your spirals and never try to just let things slide that weren't socially okay rather than let them pile up. I won't be doing that going forward, though. Letting things slide, I'll just tell you as an adult, like my other friends tell me when I do fudge ups. I appreciate it. It basically was the equivalent of having a bomb thrown into my window with no room to actually speak, because it wasn't a conversation in which my words had any inherent significance. Alf, we might have to push it back an hour, because I'm not even halfway through! But again, you can always, like, what's socially acceptable and what's not socially acceptable. And I think a good friend would actually respond to be like, hey, you know, I think this was kind of fucked up. Maybe don't do that again. Like, that's decent. But again, Adora, you're kind of being a twat. Why did you let it slide before? I appreciate it. It's basically was the equivalent of having a bomb thrown into my window with no room to actually speak, because it wasn't a conversation in which my words had any inherent significance. If you want to start, Alf, without me, you're more than fine starting without me. Like, if you have 4 people already lined up, you guys can go. I might be late. I'm not aware of issues, nor is it something I've not been trying to correct at various stages of a downhill slide that past few months. I've never been upset at you for getting the help you needed. I was happy you had the support in that time and could heal. That's a good thing, and I never held malicious for Finn being there. My only metrics for care was based solely upon the lack of presence from other parties, specifically the person I needed the most when I was suffering. This isn't everything that has been on me, but it is just a part of a greater series of issues and misunderstanding. I go look at a fish for a bit. Okay. Go enjoy fish. I will. I appreciate you talking. I just wish that there had been sit-down conversation before letting things become a massive barrage that I was surprised with in public. I mean, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Like, if you have issues with your friends, you need to sit down with them and tell them, hey, we're having issues. Like, you know, I'm not okay with what's going on here. You know, that's a good thing. Like, I could agree. Don't come all at once. If you have an issue, you need to go to your friend and tell them, hey, I have an issue. By the way, Static, I have an issue. You're stinky. One of the major reasons I was constantly struggling was trying to manage everything I knew was wrong on my own while being hit with more problems. A sit down conversation with everyone to properly check and discuss behavior would have been more of a corrective method than just mentions of behavior that rubbed people wrong or holding it from my knowledge. And yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Good, calm, sit down conversation so we can go over those things. That sounds smart. No, I get that. But in the end, it was unfortunately not really an easy way to do it, as well as kind of needed to be said for the sake of healing to happen. I want you to know, at least on our end, we are all cheering you on, and hopefully that it'll be better communication going forward. Yeah, I just am incredibly conflicted about doing anything. I don't feel I have any right to be present in anything, nor am I wanted around. Well, it kind of seems like you're not. And that, if that wasn't true, it would have gone completely differently. Or if that wasn't true, there's things that are obviously cut out because the way I look at this, it does sound like if that wasn't true. So this does seem like you're addressing her as we don't want you around. If that wasn't true, it would have gone completely differently. Regardless, time will help heal. 4 days after her initial call with Adora, Radia was admitted to the hospital. The stress of dealing with the situation began to cause severe complications with her already rapidly declining health. And again, she does struggle with like immunodeficiency issues, so that yeah, that makes sense. All while at the same time, I'm gonna say some of these people are social media addicted, 100%. But oh, we got more. Thinking about the hospital, my resting heart rate at dinner was 115 sitting down. Effing hell, wait, 115? 115? Are you... God! You should be dead! Probably a heart attack. What the... That... I haven't even had a 115 resting heart rate. And I'm fat! Oh! Effing hell. I'm back home. If you need to go, go. I will meet you there. But there's a pain in the middle of my back. Go! And my jaw hurts as well as the back of my neck. I don't know what's wrong. Go to the hospital. You probably grounded your teeth all night. No, it's numb. F. Go to the hospital. That's the plan. I don't want to go, but I sat an entire dinner at least, knowing I was at 110 plus heart rate the entire aquarium visit. I felt short of breath. Now I just feel tired. Go to the hospital. Even if it's nothing, honey, just stress. It's better to be sure you can get a baseline of what's going on. But then I've just wasted money and looking like I want attention. No, go to the hospital. Go to the hospital. Go to the hospital. Your heart rate's 115. I don't think I know what she actually looks like a person, but from what I was being told, she's not an unhealthy lady. Go to the hospital. Like, she has health issues. I mean, when I say unhealthy, she's not a... She's good. She's in good shape. Go to the hospital. Alpha Omega, I started too early. That's because I got a lot to do today. I got a lot. And my back's killing me. My back is killing me. But then I've just wasted money and look like I want attention. Sweetie, this is medical attention. Yes. This is for medical necessity. Don't die. I get it. Going to the hospital ain't cheap, but you have a day job. Hopefully you have insurance through your day job. Go to the hospital. I don't want to look like I'm seeking attention or money for medical issues. Sweetie, I know your medical history. To think you'd be faking this is delusional. If you were looking for attention, we wouldn't have to fight you for like half an hour every time to get you to go. You hate hospitals. Go to the hospital. I know you know my medical history. You've been through my papers. Why? If you want attention, that this be a really weird way to do it. Oh, no, I mean, you can get attention for not going because you're in the ground. These people are pathetic and it's not even fun. Well, Static, that's your opinion. Yeah, I'm calling Uber now. Good. The pain in my upper back won't go away. Let me know when you're getting close and I will drive there to meet you. Just left. Okay, cool. I'll be at the ER by 9:20. Gotcha. Sorry for the hassle. Not a problem, sweetie. Yeah, the pain still comes and like my heart is being grabbed. I'm about to leave. I'll be there soon. Get your ass to the hospital. Quit with the woman brain, go to the hospital. Quit with the woman brain, go to the hospital. No apology or even check-in was ever received from any of the other members regarding this, though they were made aware of it. Screenshot analysis. It should be observed Dora uses a type of language called coercive control. I don't need you to deduce all this. I've already kind of figured out that. Smoo Raid! Hey, Smoo Woo, how you doing, guys? Thank you for the raid. You make me feel bad. I mean, coercive control is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, even when you're reading over that, there was some stuff that just wasn't making sense. At the same time, like her coercive control, I don't really know what power she had over you. So I don't really, like, there's some things I need a little bit more evidence for as a third party looking into all this. I can obviously see the control, I can see the manipulation, I can see all that, but at the same time, I don't see how she was controlling you. If you get my drift, again, if anybody sees this, you have no problem to coming to me and addressing those things. Snappy Rai, how you doing? I turn away for a sec, and it looks like I'm in a Dermy stream. You are here. You are here, Snapple. Post-intervention escalation. Up until this point, this appeared to be something that, although handled incredibly poorly, there was room for this to be resolved. Adora outwardly appeared willingly to reconcile. Radio was actively attempting to apologize for whatever hurt feelings her actions had caused. It is during this time period of May 30th, 31st, that a noticeable shift began. During this time, Radio was finally able to open up regarding what had taken place during the initial confrontation. It is at this point the narrative that had been fed to outside parties began unraveling. The primary source for this discovery of these discrepancies outside of Radia's own words was a document that had been forwarded to Digital Vagrant, Radia's partner, on May 29th, 2 days after the initial confrontation. It was represented as bullet points of what had been gone over during the call, as well as a summary of what Radia had done to justify the call in the first place. Jeremy's trying to get through 93 pages of legal BS. Kind of. Adora Bunny. Of course, let me get it real fast. Here you go. Issues, Doc. Before we talk to her, we wrote out a bunch of things we wanted to bring up with her. I think I cut off all the stuff we ended up talking to her about. Wait, why did you send all this to her boyfriend? Perfect timing. Well, thank you, Smoo. Why did you send this all? What? Ail, Smoo, how you doing, buddy? Why did you send this to her boyfriend? Like, I'm trying to figure that part out. Oh, I need a napkin. Give me a second. Like, sending this to her boyfriend, why would you do that? Discovery was these discrepancies outside of Radio's own words. So wait, so the thing was breaking down, but Radio's I'm lost. This document had been altered. Adora had edited it significantly to remove almost every point which mentioned herself before sending it, without the knowledge of anyone else involved. The full version of this list, minus redactions of personal information, can be found below. So let's open link. Main issue, Saturday night stream, lying or massively overemphasizing a health issue to make money, keeping it a secret from us and purposely hiding it from us, complaining about financial situations the next same day, and complained about hotel and not being able to afford it, stated that hotel suite upgrade would be only $50 for an entire stay, never mentioned Chinese food to us despite mentioning it in chat. What? I don't get that. Had a hugely successful stream night predicated on a lie and didn't bring it up to us on any capacity, and instead only complained about money for a hotel the day after. I'm lost. You rated from your Ninja Gaiden stream? Well, shout out to Ninja Gaiden. So, I don't... Lying for massive overemphasizing health, keeping a secret from us, and purposefully hiding it. Well, I'm so lost. Reasons why we think food poisoning is not true. We know for a fact that she woke up in the morning 10 hours later, leaving the hotel room. Ate breakfast in the car casually, Tim Hortons breakfast sandwich and donut holes, and ate food with gluten in it. Is she gluten intolerant? I don't get that. Arrived at an aquarium with no known issues to the swim in bioactive water with stingrays while immunocompromised. I don't get how those things are connected. Somebody's gonna have to explain that one to me. Ate frozen yogurt shortly after, something high in lactose. I heard that she's apparently lactose intolerant, but you can take meds to actually be able to like do stuff with lactose. Like my sister is lactose intolerant and does that. Ate a creamy Alfredo pasta with seafood shortly after. Only information ever given was during Montana's that she might be bad for her to eat a blue rare steak and not feeling well. Aren't stingrays only able to swim in clean water? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. So I'm not even gonna try to deduce what I'm not even try to figure that out. Actually, here, let's Google that let's Google that. Stingrays swimming in bioactive water. Stingrays can thrive in bioactive aquarium environment. Bioactive aquariums by definition establish a miniature ecosystem within the tanks, promoting a healthier and more neutral environment for the inhabitants. Okay. How about this? While immunocompromised. Swimming in a bioactive water while immunocompromised risks and conditions. Swimming in natural bodies of water like lakes, rivers, streams, which can be considered bioactive due to the presence of microorganisms and other biological activities, presents particular risk for individuals with weakened immune systems. Potential risks increased susceptibility to infection, severe illness, persistent symptoms, infection, antibiotic resistance, bacteria. So it is a bad idea. Okay, it is a bad idea. Could it not be like she probably claimed to have a I don't even know what disease she has, and I'm not even going to be able to say that. I only know that people have said that she has said that she has a bioimmune deficiency. I only know that. I just don't know what type. So I know there's did I say bioimmune? I mean immune deficiency. And I mean, even when you go over like everything with Mousy and the immunodeficiency fund, they even say like not all immunodeficiency diseases are the exact same. Some of them operate very differently than others. Some of them aren't as bad as others. So when you take that into account, it could just be because of her particular one. She actually can do all that. Celiac disease. Okay. I don't know. So, because I'm not fully like inundated on what disease she has, I don't know if she should have done that or if she shouldn't have done that. So take that as you will. I'm not gonna try to expound on that too much further. I don't have that data. To summarize, this list turned out to be full of extremely minor slights or highly inaccurate, outright false assumptions regarding Radia's personal details. Below is a list of the main points along with an analysis of the framing that was used in the document. So we looked at this, but here's this one. Main issue 1, Saturday Night Stream. This section revolved around the alleged hiding of a late night Saturday night stream done by Radia's partner, Digital Vagrant, while she was away. Radia was also accused of faking food poisoning and playing up her illness for money with a variety of poorly constructed evidence and a complete lack of understanding of medical issues. So, wait, done by Radia's partner. So wait, the Saturday night stream that, I guess that was the, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to copy the link IRL real quick. Ah! Okay. Just because I want it to be back to back. The Saturday night stream. Okay. But, so if the Saturday night stream happened, then, but it was done by her boyfriend. So why are you mad that her boyfriend did it? And why are you coming to Radio about a stream that her boyfriend did? That doesn't make sense. But I guess that's part of this thing. Like, some of this stuff doesn't make sense. Like, you're mad at something her boyfriend did and not Radio. But you're mad at her for her boyfriend. Oh, okay. Screenshot analysis. The problems in this opening should be obvious as you read it below. Accusations are made without context and support with no evidence. Even, and I can't even say that word. Several, ancillary, I guess. I don't even know. Several of them contradict each other, and others are provided with so little context it is hard to understand exactly what they mean. It is simply assumed Radia is lying about her health, and the fact she was able to run a stream in which a lot of gift subs were given out is offered as a connection to spite of the fact Radia will frequently run streams which generate gifted subscriptions and hype trains, i.e. money in the same manner. One could make the accusation that Radia uses her cat to garner money from her supporters. Wait, so because she was sick, but I thought the stream was done by her boyfriend. I'm lost. The type of health problem also changed 3 times. At first, it is unspecified, then it jumps to food poisoning, and then it to mental health. It also accuses Radia of massively overemphasizing a health problem for money, but also keeping it a secret. This is a complete contradiction. Radia is entitled to her privacy and has made it clear on numerous occasions she does not like discussing her health issues and will often refer to her health issues as hot girl tummy troubles. Other members of Project STEM also do this, including Adora and other VTubers within the same sphere of influence. I have hot girl tummy troubles. Okay, I have hot girl tummy troubles. Just want to put that out. Because look at me, I'm obviously a hot girl. Now, I have to do some levity here because I'm lost. Like, the reason I'm lost is because I don't have all the evidence, and they already specified some of the reasons they don't have all the evidence is because the streams are gone, which you should always like archive your streams and VODs. That's just a basic understanding there. But without any of that information, I can't figure out, like, was the stream done by Radia or was it done by her boyfriend? And then if it was done by her boyfriend, that means her boyfriend got all the money, not Radia. Or I guess she can at least utilize the money, but I don't know. I don't get this. It's an immunocompromised illness where eating gluten sends you to the toilet in severe pain and explosive. Oh, okay. I mean, that could be it. She could have celiac. There's, I don't know. I don't know. So I can't, I feel wrong to try to figure that out, but hot girl tummy troubles. Okay. The other highlighted issue seems to focus on Radia's consumption of dairy products with the presumed assumption that Radia is lying about being lactose intolerant. Lactose intolerance is not an uncommon issue. There are pills which contain enzymes which, if taken daily, allow someone to with lactose intolerance to consume dairy products. Radia had these pills on her person along with other necessary mealtime meds and has been vocal about taking these pills. Adora would know she was taking them. I mean, again, my sister has lactose intolerance. She has to take these pills, and I also, the difference between what it seems here with Radia and my sister is my sister hates taking those pills and still eats lactose and then gets tummy issues. So, yeah, and I have to sometimes pay the price of all that. Anyways, I don't, the whole thing of like eating lactose and being lactose intolerant, I don't really give a crap. I mean, I know people that are lactose intolerant and still eat lactose stuff even without the pills. They just, they suffer the consequences, which is not fun. All of these are small nitpicky items that could have been resolved in 15-minute conversations with Radia over coffee. None of this is grounds for intervention. The final conclusion is a good example of the kind of abusive language highlighted earlier. Punishment is framed as not only a result of Radia's actions, but also a favor to prevent the situation getting worse. It is a classic "I'm doing this for your own good" argument, and leans heavily on isolating Radia from outside sources. If this got out, it would look incredibly poorly on you, with a burden of proof placed heavily on Radia to prove she is not lying in spite of the utter lack of evidence to even suggest she is. This is a tactic used to force a mind into a submissive position. The feeling one gets when faced with this sort of language is a sense of hopelessness, and if you lack defense against this sort of thing, then the mind can't help but do everything it can to prove innocence. The victim will seek to please the abuser while glossing over the technical details, such as the criticism of eating, drinking, and monetary habits. The abuse might feel the subsequent subconscious need to comply. I don't really give shit. Complain less, eat less, and either be less extreme. I don't need all this. I could kind of figure that stuff out. Like this part, the tactics, I kind of don't need. Main issue number 2. Main issue 2, general lack of gratitude. This section features a number of alleged comments made by Radia that were either interpreted as malicious or actively misconstrued as Radia displaying a lack of gratitude, painting her as unappreciative for the support received and for her friends in general. It has also featured accusations that Radia, as she made more money than others, had no right to complain or express anxiety about monetary issues around others who had less. I mean, I just wouldn't do that, to be honest. Don't complain about the income stuff like that. That's not a good look no matter what. I get super chats, I get subs, I get what I can. I don't complain about it because it's not really a good look to ever complain about that. So yeah, I'm gonna agree there. I have seen some of the accusations of that. No, I don't think I have it. Apparently there's a VTuber named Alice that has grievances with some of the ways she was going about it, but I don't have the chat to prove what was being said there back and forth. Like apparently she banned somebody for going over that. They wanted to give Radia money, but they gave it to somebody else. And apparently that person was saying it over and over and over again, so Radia banned it. And again, this is all alleged. And Alice knows about that because they gave the money to Alice, so that's a weird thing. I don't have any proof or evidence to back up either side. All I have are the claims, so I have to go off of that. If you did do that, that's scummy. But if it was the chatter that said it over and over again, I don't blame you for banning that person, so I need more proof. There's a lot to unpack in this section, but the one factor you should have primarily aware of is that Andorra has been to Radia's house, where her monthly budget is stapled to the fridge. Andorra is fully aware of Radia's living expenses, including mortgage and medical bills. Prior to this incident, Radia looked upon Andorra as a sister and confided in her a serious amount of personal information, which included her monthly income and outgoings. Again, you'll notice the constant use of "this is good for you," followed by "you didn't say thank you enough." This is again the language of the abuser, in particular one with narcissistic tendencies. I'm tired of the breakdown of psychology. It is a very common tactic. I don't really give a shit. I'm gonna move on from all that. Spamming should get a banning. I agree. I actually agree with that. Like, if you're spamming that over and over again, I don't blame you for banning that person. If they only mentioned it once and you banned them, I don't blame people for being upset about that. So, like, I need to see what was going on there to be able to deduce what the right move there would be or wouldn't be. And I'm not even halfway through! All these accusations are, again, minor nitpicks. You see a repeat of the $50 hotel suite argument, and I will not insult the intelligence of the reader by explaining why someone may have concerns over spending thousands of dollars for flights, hotels, convention materials, and restaurants, but might find a $50 hotel room upgrade good value and potentially worth it. These are simply methods of degrading Radia's mental state and making her feel guilty for receiving and spending money. I mean, yeah, I did that I did similar stuff at Vegas. I've done that at cons, so I don't really have a problem there. You'll note back in the first issue, Adora tells Radia to take a break, which is combined with a vague threat. This is, at this point, has become a theme. The theme of money revenge generated from Twitch reviewers and the need for Radia to take a break from streaming or else have been very common and alluded to the greater purpose behind the behind this document. Main issue number 3. Main issue number 3, copying content. This section, while incredibly short, alleges that Radia copied the content of those around her. Wait, where was that? Oh, it was right here. Main issue 2, general lack of gratitude. Okay, so okay. I didn't even read through all these things. These are just at the very bottom. I didn't even notice that. Wait, where's copy content? You don't need copy content. You're an incredibly entertaining person who can okay. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. The financial issue, yeah, copying core. The financial issue is short, lacks substance. Again, these are fictitious claims with no real evidence, as they attempt to allude to a greater problem without having to mention it, nor privy to evidence is happening. The few things mentioned, such as the elevator skit, is something Adora worked with Radia to replicate on her own channel. Aforementioned YouTuber Laserpig Me claimed Adora even offered to show him how it worked if he wanted to replicate it for his own streams. The TLDR at this end is more interest. Again, the repetition that Radia is at fault and the need to take a break or else is repeated. Accusations are sandwiched. Where's the accusation of copying? Copying a tweet without asking, i.e. the hype memes celebration of YouTube success. Wait. Everybody celebrates YouTube success. Copying of elevator concept, putting barely any time into it, then complaining about it not being received well. Okay. The document cuts off abruptly mid-sentence here, likely due to Adora altering the document. Okay, okay. Confronted with the disparity between Radia's account of events and the list of allegations, combined with the stark contrast between how the initial confrontation had been portrayed and how it actually occurred, it is at this point Adora began to receive pushback from Digital Vagrant. His account of events follows. Laserpig is probably the most unreliable person in all of this. He has a history. Crocodile Alligator. I don't know who these people are. Like, I know a broad overview of like who Adora is and who Radia are. I know they were friends. I know they did content together. I know that. Outside of that I don't know a whole lot. I don't know what STEM was. I don't know like what these people primarily did content on. And when I'm the third party looking in on this, some stuff doesn't make much sense, but without some maybe prior knowledge, I just don't know. Then when it comes to Laserpig, I've seen some of his things going around on Twitter. Beats me. I would like to know more and I would like to understand it. I'm not seeing some of the connective tissue yet. I know that there's some more like really fucked up shit that Adora did later on, so that we're getting through some of the lackluster stuff before we get into the apparently the decent stuff. But Digital Vagrant's account. I want to preface this statement by pointing out that at first I had no reason to disbelieve Adora's sincerity or honesty. She had proclaimed constantly that she was she saw Radia as a sister, and generally believed that she was approaching me from an honest place. Further, though I do not wish to indulge in details, I'm a former abuse victim and extremely similar tactics to what was used in this situation. I'm extremely susceptible to tactics like this and have spent a significant amount of time in therapy, including during the time of this document, attempting to improve this. Don't really like that being said, but at the same time, I'll take it as it is. I was messaged by Fenry Amori as I came out of a therapy session in the early morning of Tuesday, May 27th. Finn's statement were mostly begin warnings that Radia's mental state would likely be fragile, but made specific mention of many of the accusations mentioned in the list while providing no evidence. Laserpig is a military Ukraine war Laserpig is a military Ukraine war content creator that has a history of just misinformation generally about military tech, but also just being an asshole. To be fair, Crocodile, if we're gonna go down that route, give me a second. I do have some proof of that. Like when I say let me pull up my bookmarks real quick. Let me pull up my bookmarks. I do actually have some evidence of that. Let me see. Here's it's not Alice, it's Alicia. So let me get, where was the tweet she made? That's what I'm looking for. God damn, you have a lot of interesting things in your Twitter account, Alicia. Right here. So I have this. This is a part of it, okay? Wait, so you get mad at one chat message saying, sorry, I'd sub, but I gifted the Rat Queen. You literally said, do you think I feel sorry for you? Okay, so this is that thing I was going on about. I don't know, like, all the details. This is just Alicia essentially removing her. And then when you scroll down, you see Laserpig. This is that whole thing I was telling you about. Like, I don't know all the details here, so I didn't want to bring it up. But if we're going to mention that he's kind of an asshole, I mean, if someone came to your live stream and said, I give you money, but I already gave to the pig 7 times, you'd probably ban that person too. I know because I've seen you do it. I mean, that is kind of a general asshole move, what's going up here. Like, this whole situation here, I don't have any of the context for, so I need, like, a lot. I'm gonna be fair here, okay? I need a little bit more. I see that, I'm like, I'm the third party looking in through the window. I'm like, this all looks like it's burning down around, and I don't even know who set the fire, and I don't know who's to blame. Where was this? Fred State, but made specific mention of accusations mentioned in the list while providing no evidence. It was at this point that Finn dropped out of contact due to falling ill. This was the last information I would receive for 2 days. I had received no warning that any of this would occur and had suddenly had a nuclear warhead drop directly into my lap. The next 48 hours were abject hell. I was effectively paralyzed, unable to do my job effectively, barely sleeping, head feeling like it was full of static as it appeared my life was disintegrating before my eyes. My partner was in a state of near complete hysteria. It took all of my energy to keep her from making incredibly rash decisions, including abruptly departing from the content space with no plan for making up the financial gap, while also attempting to get her to speak to me about what had happened. From what I could tell, her shame and humiliation was so overwhelming, she couldn't speak to me about it. She just continued to blame herself. Okay, so Digital Vagrant was the boyfriend, right? I'm lost. It's so long, I'm lost. You know, I saw Mujin say this, and I'm starting to agree. Can we all agree to keep our Google Docs from now on under 40 pages? Like, why is Laserpig even coming in here? Why doesn't he drop his own Google Doc? Because I'm so lost on who's who in all this. All I know for sure is Adora is a twat. While trying to figure out how to properly atone, incredibly forced, and attempting to sever her friendship, it was on May 29th that Adora chose to reach out to me. She appeared sympathetic, and I was so emotionally exhausted from the events of the prior days. My car had also been rear-ended during this, that I did not question at first what she was saying, even when she provided me the aforementioned list of accusations. I mean, trust me, if she keeps doing this, I will keep my distance. In the end, I can't fix her. She has to fix herself. No, neither can I. Take care of yourself, Digi. Oh, Digital. Oh, I thought that was Digibro. That's my bad. And I mean, stay away from Digibro. Digital Vagrant. I'm trying to be... I'm trying, but it genuinely feels like my world collapsed from under me Tuesday. I do not doubt her affection for me. That can't have been faked, but the rest of this, I don't know. I would say I wish we could have given you more heads up, but literally talked to her after 2 hours of putting that list of issues together. Wait, why are you wondering what her affection is? You see her on the daily basis. You interact with her. Why are you thinking that she's faking? What the fuck just happened there? I feel like I just got whiplashed. Legitimately, I feel like I just got spun around and then was told a bunch of shit that I don't even know where that came from. She's your girlfriend, isn't she? So why do you immediately think that her emotions are fake? Don't you have the most interactions with her? I'm lost on that. What later initially struck me as odd once I came out of my emotional shell shock was that Adora had slipped in accusations that made no sense in hindsight and had not been listed on the document. Some seemed utterly misinformed and even objectively cruel. I can't speak it. I can't say that word. Note, Adora has been long aware that Radia has chronic medical issues of a severe nature. Even if she has not been privy to the full details, there was no basis to make the below comment. I'm really worried content was just making her worse and not better, because I know I personally have to fight off my own brain rot and demons from it. On an unrelated note, can we make sure Ray eats enough? When I saw her at Anime North, she has lost considerable amount of weight since I saw her last, and I'm concerned she may have an eating disorder. I'm lost. I'm lost, chat. Like, that seems like a decent thing to ask, but at the same time, it feels kind of out of bounds. But you are supposed to be your best friend, but I don't know. How often do you see her in person? Maybe she's just bettering herself. I don't know. It was not until Radia began speaking with the assistance of her roommate that I began to get suspicious and actually start to think critically again. Once I was informed of the nature of the meeting and inconsistent began to show, I was incredibly unhappy with what I was hearing. By the way, shout out to Bruce and shout out to the Wayfarer. How you guys? Conflict avoidant and express when I'm upset rather than bolting it. Wait, what? Bottling it up. Was it? Wait, once I was informed, I was incredibly unhappy with what I was hearing and decided to follow through on recent therapy efforts to cease being conflict avoidant and express when I am upset rather than bottling it up. Okay, that's okay. I request a phone call with Adora and Palm in order to hopefully express my displeasure with the way in which Radia had been spoken to and the destruction of both her week, my week, and the week of her roommate with no warning. Screenshot excerpts of my request with this are listed below. Digi, I didn't exactly want to drop it on her either. We dropped it the same day we realized you literally had as much heads up as we did. And I'm saying that was an absolutely terrible idea. So was the way in which you engaged her. So how should we have engaged her with your perfect hindsight, since we were the ones that had to breach the hard convo, wait days and do it individually, or talk to her like a friend immediately, and how I talk to her now going forward? Um, that there's a lot removed from here, so I don't know what's being said there. So I'm putting that out there as it is. What I will say is I don't think there is a good way to address this, but they probably did do it in a terrible way. She's been compulsively lying to us and her audience. It had to be talked about immediately. How is telling her she needs to be grateful to her friends acting as a brand risk? Wait, acting as a brand risk? How is telling her she needs to be grateful to her friends acting as a brand risk? Wait, I thought you guys were calling her a brand risk. I'm lost. First off, I'm not acting like I have perfect hindsight. Are we not supposed to confront her ever, Digi? Like, yeah, going forward, we're going to make it not pile up. Secondly, I don't think it's hard to realize that a 3-on-1 surprise VC session is probably not the best way to engage someone who suffers from that kind of trauma. Yeah, except I'm honestly confused because I was the one doing the streaming, and she didn't even mention the food poisoning stuff until the hype train was well underway, nor did Veggie and I make it a big part of the dono conversation. So, okay. If that's the case, yeah, I still don't understand. By the way, shut up, Cloud. I still don't even understand why they're so upset that Digi did a stream on any of that, because even if if I go through what Digi's saying here and I believe him, and that I'm not saying that I do, I'm following what's being presented to me, wouldn't that end up meaning that all your claims and your issues are bogus? Like, if he did the stream, why are you mad at her? If she ended up mentioning after the hype train and everything that she wasn't feeling good, then why are you mad at her? Like, none of that adds up the way that you think that it's adding up. Radia isn't an idiot. She knows what food poisoning is, dude. Do you? I'm pretty sure I'm not an idiot, and I misuse terms all the time. I mean, everybody misuses terms. For fudge sakes, we have people still freaking out over the fact that Shylily accused somebody of slandering her when she said that word out of pocket. Shylily said, I saw things slandering me. What it meant was she saw things that weren't true. That's what it was, and accusing her of stuff. But people wanted to take that to the actual legal definition of what slander. There's some people when streaming and doing stuff that they say words that don't actually mean what they're saying. If you're getting what my drift, like, there's certain things that people say that they don't mean the actual thing. Like, slander is a good example of that. Food poisoning. No, I just ate something that made me feel upset. That's about it. Like, there's certain things people do and say that they don't mean the exact thing there. Oh, Static's all mad that that Cloud didn't get censored. Like, I feel like people want to take words so literal nowadays when there's certain words that we've all kind of just used that we don't mean it in the literal sense. And I don't know if that's because of a bunch of people that are just stupid and want to make a big deal out of nothing. I just don't get it. I apologize if I started too aggressively, but I am upset, and I can't lie about that. It's fine, you had to go to the hospital with her, I get it. No, and that's fine, but I'm standing pretty firm that we treated her like an adult, and that's the whole point in the end. And unfortunately, I'm not going to agree with you on how you did things. The entire format is hostile. She was never going to respond well to that. By the way, Cloud, we have to have an emergency Ballbusters meeting sometime tomorrow. It's definitely just going to be me and you and not everybody else. Not everybody else. We're not going to bombard you with a bunch of shit, okay? Jeremy slanders you? Yeah, I do. Respond well to that. Yeah, the format was awful. Digi, you're just basing it off of what Radia said. Of course her perspective is going to be skewed, but that literally is not what happened. You bombarded her in a 3v1 call. That is what happened. I'm basing it off of what Nim NYMN said. It took me days to get anything out of Radia at all. This is not just taking Radia's word for it. I understand that, but Nim also was not directly there in person for the actual convo we had with her. Adora, it literally does not matter what words you used or how polite you were. The way in which it was sprung on her pretty much guaranteed she was going to react like a deer in the headlights. It just wasn't a smart idea. Why is this like this? Why is this screenshot like that? Holy hell. One-on-one is not how that works, Digi. We're a group. We didn't bring anyone else into the call that was not a part of the group. We didn't bring anyone else since it was only relevant to us originally. If one-on-one communication with people worked, interventions wouldn't even be a thing either. I genuinely am going hard disagree one-on-one being the answer. Well, actually, maybe a one-on-one would have been the better answer because you're addressing the situations like you're the best friend, you're the person that perceives her as a sister, you're addressing her one-on-one because that's the smart idea. I don't get this part. I don't understand why you think a one-on-one wouldn't have been a good idea. And why do you need an intervention? I'm not seeing that part. Why was the intervention even necessary? And I thought it was supposed to be an emergency meeting, not an intervention. There's a lot of this that I'm like, I keep saying I'm lost and I'm confused, but the thing is, like, I am lost. I am confused. This is all just a bunch of, for lack of a better term, bad actors treating everybody poorly. Like, Adora is a twat and she's manipulating everybody. And I think the only person who's not to blame right now, as I see it, is Radia. But at the same time, Radia, we don't need all this precise details. Like this part here from Digital Vagrant, I actually think is decent, but he also seems to be coming off of it kind of hot. But it is also his girlfriend. Note, as this image is too wide to resize, plain text version is as follows. Oh, I already read that. One-on-one is not how that works, Digi. We're a group. I already read that. An important point to note is, it was only after considerable time had passed that I discovered even the last point was a lie. Adora had already begun to involve third parties by this point, and there was even a non-project STEM third-party individual in the call where they planned their intervention. But at this point, I still had hope that Adora was operating in good faith, albeit horribly misguided in how they communicated and perhaps reluctant to admit it. I did not expect what came next. Please, for the love of God, tell me who the other third party is. If they're not part of Project STEM and they are there, you need to probably pull that up because that's relevant to the thing. This call was unproductive. I was met with defensive hostility immediately from the get-go, to the point that I nearly retreated from the call entirely. Adora refused any request to apologize and only repeated justifications and excuses for the actions taken. I left the call frustrated and dissatisfied, both with the logic presented to me and the way in which I was spoken to, which was full of straw man arguments and attempts to dodge any kind of accountability. I was not spoken to like a third party they felt guilty about involving, but a nosy trespasser they wanted to force to back down. I later found out from a mutual friend that Adora flippantly referred to me as a doing misogyny. Wait, what? Doing misogyny? We all do misogyny. Because I objected to the aggressive tone right out the gate. Well, I mean, you were also pretty aggressive from what I was seeing here, but at the same time, I don't, like, if this was some of the lead up here, I think you guys were both being aggressive, let's be fair here. And if you have an issue with how aggressive she was, I would like to at least have, I wish you guys would have recorded it. As well as dismissing me as biased when the only point I raised were that a lot of their actions seemed extreme, as well as expressing a displeasure for this being sprung on me with zero warning. I explained multiple times this was an attempt on my part to enforce my boundaries, which I have been in therapy for months about due to my tendency toward conflict avoidance. This apparently had no effect on the opinions. Oh, 100% of course he's biased. LMAO. We all know that and aren't mad at him for that. Mostly just him doing misogyny on Palm. LOL. I'm gonna do a misogyny on you. No, I just, like, yeah, he is biased, though. You are biased. That's the thing, but she's also biased. Like, everybody in this thing is biased. You're biased because this is your girlfriend, and you're seeing your girlfriend and partner in a bad light. So, yes, you are biased against the situations that are going on right now. That's a fact statement. I could say, like, Adora bringing that up and trying to, like, paint you in a negative light is a bad idea because anybody could figure out that you are a little bit biased here. But then the whole misogyny, we all do it. We all do the misogyny. Don't lie. I'll pull a misogyny on Gal later. God, I'm only a third of the way. Nothing like doing a misogyny. Exactly, Static. Exactly. It was at this point I ceased all communication with Adora, Palm, and Fenrir. The level of defensive irritation and attempt of minimizing of my concerns was upsetting, and only intensified my feelings that something was not right. While my direct involvement with any dialogue ended at this point, switching solely to assisting Radia, I did bear witness to the extent of the cruelty that came next. While I understand that my account of things will inherently be considered biased due to my status as her partner, I wanted to emphasize anyways that Radia, up until she realized what was being done to her, fully attempted to appease Adora and any aggravated parties as much as possible, and heavily heaped blame on herself even in cases where the accusations were not true or were heavily misrepresented in hope of saving her friendship. I mean, we kind of saw all that already. I don't really need you to reiterate that. We saw that in the above part that she was blaming herself a whole lot more, but I don't even know what she was blaming herself for. Prior to this, like, the most important part that we got from you right now, other than Adora saying blatant misogyny, was the realization that you were the actual confirmation that you led that stream, and the stance that she didn't even mention she was dealing with hot girl tummy troubles until after the hype train, so she wasn't utilizing it to get money. At least that's the claim right now. Let me scroll back down just to try to remember where I was at. Saving friendship. This went as far as Radia heavily considering just leaving content entirely multiple times with zero financial preparation of any kind. Well, she does have a day job, but I doubt that actually can support her enough in the end, in hopes that it would assuage. I think that's how you say that word. The anger and cause the least amount of problems for everyone involved. This remained her main priority up until it became obvious that was no longer possible. And even after that, she attempted to separate quietly and professionally because she did not want to cause trouble. I mean, that's a decent thing to do. You probably should have done that. I will not be posting any screenshots of the conversation we had during these moments. They are both deeply personal and gut-wrenching in the deep despair and display. I would say that's a bad idea. I get why you're not doing it. I would say that's a bad idea because that actually could help your case right now. And I'm not saying that just for the whole, like, hey, I want the content, blah, 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 blah. I'm pointing that out as, like, hey, that's actually something that you would want to put in here. To sway people more to you is, like, some of the conversations you were having behind the scenes on how, like, manipulative they were and how awful they were. That can actually assist you in the grand scheme of things. Radia is incredibly conflict avoidant, even more so than I am. It is a particular sticking point in our relationship that we have sought counseling on, as neither of us wish to bother or take advantage of the other, even when our problems are near overwhelming and deserving of help. To say that she was attempting to cause trouble on purpose defies sanity. Well, I could actually see that already with some of the things we've already saw. What do we have here? Oh my god, my back's killing me. Oh, my back's killing me. It was at this point that another party involvement began. Laserpig, a mutual friend of all three parties who had received spillover awareness of the ongoing issues when Digital Vagrant had reached out for understanding and support in the wake of the initial confrontation. Laserpig decided to act as a neutral third party, not attempting to get directly involved. He did not directly contact Adora Radia until after this point. However, it is important to document that he had been tangentially involved at this point. Then he's not really a neutral third party. He has been involved, so you got him involved now. And we can kind of see he wasn't fully a neutral third party when we're looking over some of his responses on Twitter as of right now. So, Whistlepig? No, Laserpig. Whistlepig's a whiskey. But we have this. Send me what you have. Let me talk to Adora. It's not that I don't trust you. It's just thinking everyone is going round and around in their heads and could use a third party. Well, I mean, so this was in May 1st. No, June 1st. 6-1. So this is June 1st. Nim was being that I'm not about to start throwing accusations. I'm just expressing frustration and concerns. Understandable, my guy. I'm just trying to help where I can. There's more going on here. Yeah, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The response doesn't. Ray didn't even fight back, dude. Just collapsed. They said she deflected a lot. I don't know. I'm biased and don't exactly want to believe my girlfriend is lying about everything. I think you both need to focus inward toward each other, at least for a little while. This will never work if you can't start by trusting each other. Decent thing there. Project STEM ejection. Much more. Project STEM ejection. So we're right here. We have all... It is at this point that almost all productive conversation broke down between Adora and Radia. The flashpoint for this took place on June 4th during a stream in which Radia was speaking to a fellow content creator and offhandedly mentioned that many relationships in the VTubing space are extremely transactional and how off-putting it could be. This extreme general non-specific comment was taken as being directed at her Project STEM. Is my phone buzzing or is that, okay, that's something else that's buzzing. Directed at Project STEM compatriots who were apparently monitoring her VODs. This was used as proof that Radia was not actually sorry. I mean, what her vagueness there, this is something that a lot of people have kind of pointed out, not just in the VTubing sphere, but in content creating spheres in general, the whole transactional element of it all. And it is kind of toxic and fucking awful. I hate it. When you only bring people on because they can help boost your numbers, or you only want to go on channels that will help boost your numbers, that whole transactional element of it all, that is disgusting, and everybody there's a lot of people that have a problem with it, myself included. The knock-on effects of this perceived slight were as followed. Attempts by Radia to arrange a follow-up meeting to continue to hash things out were delayed and put off for an additional week. Radia was not immediately told of their new point of anger, which was later revealed to Radia on June 11th to be from a stream held earlier in June in which Radia said some people view friendships as transactional, which is a fact statement. While speaking with another uninvolved content creator on content creation in general, none of the Project STEM members were mentioned at any point, including Adora. Well, I don't blame somebody for actually, the only people that would get mad at that statement are people that think that they're being used for that or being called out. Like there's if you actually look at the content creation sphere, there's a lot of transactional friendships. People that are only friends with you because you have a large amount of followers or you are a big creator. That's an actual thing that goes on a lot of times. And I mean, people can see it. People want to sit there and act like they can't see it. People see it all the time. And it is a big issue and it is kind of fucked up. And then there's a lot of people that will accuse you of actually being friends with somebody just for transactional reasons. I can actually point out there's a drama tuber. I don't remember his name. I might bring him up some other time because there's another video I do want to react to, but I might do that during the week if nothing's going on. But there was a guy who was talking about Kirsche, for example, and openly said the only reason Kirsche is famous and popular is because she's friends with Pippa. That's an accusation of a transactional friendship right there. There's no actual proof of that. That's just the accusation. That shit's gay. I agree, Static. That shit is gay. Like, oh, shit. I just turned off the light. Damn it. I actually agree. That is gay. Like, treating people like that is very pathetic. I'm a firm believer of just engaging with people you want to engage with. Doesn't matter what their sub counts are or how big they are. I'm friends with Beardo. He's bigger than me. I'm friends with Adam. Technically bigger than me. I'm friends with X-Wing, bigger than me. Joe, bigger than me. But at the same time, I'm friends with Cloud. I'm friends with Alf. I'm friends with Devil. I'm friends with a lot of people who are smaller than me. I engage with people I want to engage with. I become friends with people I want to be friends with. I don't give a shit that they have bigger sub counts or anything like that. It's nice sometimes, don't get me wrong, but I don't view the world through that lens. I view the world through, I just want to have fun and do a good thing. That's pretty much me. June 11th at the same time, spoke Grievous. Oh, wait. Okay, this is the new part. Note this VOD was able to be preserved as it still was able to be preserved. That was able to be downloaded after the attempt to end Radia's life on July 12th. This VOD has been uploaded to Google Drive to preserve it. Do we have a link to it? That would be nice. When the second conversation finally occurred on June 11th, Radia, now entirely broken and feeling completely alone, desperately tried to appeal to Adora and offer an apology for whatever Adora dictated was the problem in the hopes of continuing to salvage the situation. At the same time, she attempted to hold her ground on the point that they were the way she had been spoken to was unacceptable and caused her and those close to her grievous harm. These apologies were refused and focus remained on how Radia had hurt them, something that continued to be more and more ill-defined the longer the situation continued. Radia then agreed to leave Project STEM on Adora's instruction, though she would refuse Adora's demands to claim it was due to mental health issues out of fear that it would publicly mark her as an unstable individual and further isolate her, which that would have. And this sounds very narrative. You might need to explain that a little bit more, Crocodile. I'm trying to figure out what you mean by this sounds very narrative. Okay, I would need just a little bit more, but it was at this point that Radia hoped that in the absence of being able to salvage her friendship, at least the situation was over and she could return to streaming without much incident. Ongoing slander/harassment campaign. Synopsis. Oh my lord. I don't want a synopsis, just get into the details. So for those with limited time, below are listed bullet points of what occurred during this phase of Adora's campaign. Combing through Radia's personal information, professional social media presence, searching for evidence that she could use to accuse Radia of falsifying her career and education background, casually doxing Radia's real name. What? And personal information that Adora discovered to completely unrelated third parties. Why would you ever do that? Why would you ever do this? I know a lot of people's real names. Guess what? I don't want it. I don't want it. I know Gal's real name. I call her Gal. I know Static's real name. I call him Static. I know Kratos' real name. I call him Kratos. I call Adam because that's him. Jed. But like, there's the people you call by the real names and the people you don't. And in this situation, you just don't do that. This is grounds right here. Doxing the real name as a former friend or anybody in the VTubing community, that's grounds for just immediately fuck off. Well, Static, I'm going to call you Static. It doesn't feel right calling you by your real name. Actively spread a disinformation narrative to a still unknown number of uninvolved parties in an attempt to freeze Radia out of as much of her social and support networks as possible. Publicly disparage Radia both personally and through an additional content creator upon Radia attempting to privately announce to her community about her sensation of content with content with Adora. Dermy is my real name. Yep. Well, I've already said my real name multiple times, but it kind of is. My real name is Dermy. Like, there's only a few letters missing from my real name in Dermy. Just drop the Y and you get drop the Y, add a 2 other letters, you get my real name. I just go by Dermy. Work to continue Radia's isolation at the Off-Kai convention and other various social events. Wait, work to continue Radia's isolation? Yeah, that's fucked. Off-Kai is that big VTuber convention. That's just fucked. Even though Off-Kai has its own issues, that's just fucked. You don't do that. You don't do that. Inspired and polite threats against uninvolved third parties speaking to Radia during the Off-Kai convention. And that spells Tard. Yes, yes, Adam, your name does spell Tard. Due to extreme isolation and an overwhelming sense of hopelessness regarding the situation, Radia attempted Minecrafting, an act that was only narrowly averted. And to be fair, like this part here, everything prior, like the isolation that was happening prior to this, like all the control, the coercive control and everything prior to her leaving, that stuff was just screwed up. Like this stuff is the meat and potatoes. Once you left, you tried to destroy her. That actually makes more sense and would have been like a better thing. Like do the brief topic up top and then go directly into this. That would have cut down on the 93 pages. Doxing of personal information. It would later become increasingly apparent that the situation had never been either private nor in good faith. Over the next month, more and more information came to light regarding Adora's subterfuge nearly from the beginning of the situation, which only intensified as time went on. Despite Radia's attempts to resolve this issue quietly and privately, Adora has continuously and consistently attempted to discredit Radia's name to everyone she could contact. This was limited to people directly involved with This was not limited to people directly involved with Project STEM or close friends, but was spread to a still unknown number of people, several of whom were contacted before the initial confrontation had even happened. These are the whispers in people's ears mentioned in the introduction to this document. Oh, excuse me. These whispers ranged from vague warnings about something potentially coming that Adora would try to keep them out of, to full-blown tales about Radia's purported bad behavior and untrustworthiness. This also included her roommate, anyone she had recently collabed with, and an unknown number of others. Why would you even ask to add her roommate? Why? Why are you doing this? What's the point? What's the point in even doing that? The clear goal at play was isolation. How are you going to isolate her roommate? That's so stupid. Why would you even think that would work? This is unfortunately to a point worked. Radia began to isolate herself both emotionally and physically in fear of whispers that now arrived thick and fast at her door, including from those she loved or believed she trusted. It had a secondary and likely intended effect that this would also break Radia's confidence. She began to stream less and felt she was not worthy of the attention and goodwill received from her community. She described herself as running on 5% and did not believe her streams were up to par. She would grow fearful of spending money on herself and would often forego eating. She became more drawn into herself, quiet, difficult to talk to, and would even attempt to end things with her parents because she wasn't worth it. A lot of this, okay, one of the things that you can do to fight this is not be so addicted to the internet. I get one of the reasons why she was doing it, but like, some of this is full-on internet addiction, social media addiction, and you need to get away from that. I get that a lot of your money comes from the social media aspect of stuff, and this is like destructive to you, but I'm gonna repeat something that Adora said, and I mean this genuinely. You probably need a detox from a lot of this shit, because this shit was fucked. At this point, the lion's share of evidence comes from testimonial from other parties who came forward over time to provide evidence of Adora's, but that doesn't make Bunny's question, does she have ED? But that doesn't make Bunny's question, does she have ED? I mean, now she would have ED. Now she would have ED, and yeah, that doesn't, Jeremy is a Adora doc. Is this the Adora doc? This is the first part of Adora doc. I haven't we're gonna try to get into Dora's doc tomorrow. Yeah, this doesn't justify that question. Like, it's after the fact that she kind of started having an eating disorder, but that's not during the fact. I just, there's some things here that I don't know if it is justified or not. Like, this is a messy situation from my point of view, Crocodile. I just, we'll go with what we have right now. There's some things my brain is not perceiving, but the isolation, I can't. You do you, boo. You do you, boo. Wasn't worth it. At this point, the lion's share relies communication between Adora and Radia had halted, and Adora, presumably due to becoming aware that she was leaving an extensive paper trail, moved most of her communication into VCs. Our pictures of the extent of the slander is likely incomplete. We have no way to determining how many people this reached, but we have eating disorder, Cloud. But we have confirmation from independent, uninvolved third parties that this reached at least one content creator with a multi-thousand viewer count, as well as representative of a corporate entity. A representative of a corporate entity? What the fuck? Why? Why? Below is a compendium of relevant testimonials during this time period, which lasted from mid-June until present day. Laserpig statement. So I never really wanted to be a part of this. Radia and Adora were two very close friends of mine, so I kinda had my head out of the window, so to speak. I wasn't paying attention, didn't care, better stuff to attend to than hot girl VTuber drama. Yeah, okay, I heard things on the grapevine. Digi reached out to me a few times, and I was a little suspicious of things and said I'd maybe talk to Adora and Radia, but I was halfway into the video editing hole and basically had my head up my ass. What I said one day, I'd forgotten to the next. I mean, that I do that too, to be fair. Then Radia goes into the hospital, and suddenly I have my best friend crying over a voice call, worried that he is going to lose his girlfriend over this, and that's when I started paying closer attention to what was going on. Adora is someone I had always trusted. She was a friend. She helped me out with my OBS problems, showed me how to run streams, and I helped her get a leg up on YouTube. We were always there for each other. I was on her streams a lot and was always happy to promote her to my audience because I genuinely felt she had talent and her streams were excellent. She was a person I once described as if I were straight. Okay. That is how close we were. So none of this makes any effing sense. So I talked to her, and obviously she's confused and upset, and she cries a little, but she assures me nothing is going on. So I ask her for the truth. I want to hear her side of the story, and that's where things start getting a little odd. Suddenly the tears stop. Suddenly her voice goes a little flat, and she starts rambling about something off topic. She starts blaming Radia's declining mental health and how this is all a delusional fantasy cooked up by her and Digi, etc. So I ask her again, what's going on truly? What's Radia done to cause you both to split like this? She can't answer me, and now she's no longer upset. Now she's getting frustrated, and on the third attempt to coax an answer out of her, she alludes to some long ago stream where Radia said something about fake friends. Was this even in the timeline of events? But that was talking about transactional friends, but I don't even think that was relevant at the time. So I watched it, and it's got nothing to do with Adora. Now I'm just confused, and that's kind of where something snaps in the back of my mind, some little red light I've been ignoring. So I did my due diligence and started digging. I've been down the Ukrainian rabbit hole for the better part of the past 4 years. I get attacked by Z-bots almost every day. I don't give a shit. I'm up to my asshole in Russian propaganda. Why is this even relevant? Bad OSI bros, scammers, Vatniks, conspiracy goons who think cultural Marxism is real because they saw a homeless guy on the subway. I don't really give a fuck about all that, and yeah, it is real. Shut up. And people who just want to troll or get a rise out of me. A huge part of my job has become to separate fact from fiction, and I've become really, really good at telling when people are lying to me, and Adora is lying to me. I don't think you are, because cultural Marxism is a fact. In fact, I don't think you'd need to be someone with any skill to know Adora was lying. The crocodile tears were hints enough, but the sudden frustration and being unable to answer a basic show me on the doll what she did wrong question, but it's when I start talking to others in the VTubing sphere that it just becomes more than obvious. They usually don't shut up about it, that's why I don't watch them. Oh, dude, if this here is who he normally is, yeah, I wouldn't watch him either. That's just so fucking annoying. Everyone I talked to trying to work out what the hell was going on were all giving me different stories about Adora had said. It's more than obvious she's just making ish up on the fly to hurt Radia for reasons that I don't effing know. And that's what shook me. I just heard Ukraine and Russian propaganda. Who the F is this commie Marxist? I don't know. Dude, this dude just sounds like a schizo from time to time, but at least he figured out that Adora was lying. Adora is my friend and she lied to me. She continued to lie and can't fathom why. And then I see the document and it all starts to fall into place. I've been hurt in my past. I make no secrets of that. I was in a highly toxic relationship for 10 years, the details of which I'll spare you because this isn't about me. But because of that and consequentially the therapy I've had regarding it, I have come to recognize the language of the abuser. You guys are all super... With the amount of people that got abused in this shit, I don't know. Everybody is abused. Everybody's been abused. We all know the language of the abuser. And I'm not trying to like shit on this stuff because of like to shit on it, okay? I'm not trying to do that, but it feels like everybody knows the language of the abuser, and that's really just annoying. And I'm not trying to shit on that, but it's just so... Everybody apparently is an expert on abuse when there's abusive things that I've seen that I wasn't an expert on. I've been through abuse. I'm not an expert on abuse. I know stuff when I know it. That's about it. Where was I left off on? My path desire to spare you because it's about me, but because of the language of the abuser. They, the way they talk, the way they act, the subtle things they do to keep you down, and that document sent to Digi is textbook. The way Adora talks to Radia, the way she acts, the things she says, I recognize it immediately. I lived with that for 10 years. It stood out like a effing firework display, and at that point I knew exactly what was going on. Well, yeah. People can figure that out, but because it is textbook, but at the same time, like I'm tired of the, oh my gosh, we all recognize abuse now. No, it takes time to realize what an abuser is, and nobody actually knows what the language of an abuser is. It actually takes like classes and research. But apparently everybody has a psychology degree nowadays, guys. Everybody knows fundamental psychology because they researched it with Google Docs. See a cloud in hell, Trump tuber. An abuser's motivations can be complicated and never clear. Sometimes I don't give a fuck what your opinions are. Blah, 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 blah. But one thing they like to do is involve many people as physical possible. as physically as possible so that the whole drama becomes exhausting for everyone, and you are put under pressure to let them get away with it for the sake of everybody else. There are a number of VTubers who knew exactly what was going on and had the power to stop it, but chose not to for their own sake. I know who those people are, and you wanna bet your ass they are on the effing ice with me! Wow. How long does this go? Jesus Christ. But for their sake, we tried one last time with Adora. I sat on a call between her and Radia, attempting to establish a dialogue. My motivations were if I could just get the two to hash it out, clear the air, maybe we could learn to live with each other and move on. That is not what happened. If you only know Adora through her streams, it would be difficult to describe what she was like in this call. Her usual bubbliness and offensive charm was gone. She spoke in a bizarre, utterly monotone, emotionless way and simply repeated the same three things over and over and over again. You know, this part, her usual bubbliness and offensive charm were gone. This bizarre, utterly monotone, emotionless. That's all colorful words. Why don't we just get into like everything else? You know, you're trying to paint it at a certain light, and I get that, but at the same time, why don't we just get into what she was actually saying? We both hurt each other. It was a private matter. I'm ready to bury the hatchet. I asked her a grand total of 7 times to explain what Radia had done to hurt her, and she avoided the question, each time refusing to answer. When I asked Adora if she thought Radia deserved an apology, all she could muster was, "I'm sorry you feel it's come to this." That's what I mean, very narrative type writing. Yeah, this document does feel like they're trying to paint a narrative. Like, I see what you're saying now. Like, it does feel like you're trying to paint a narrative. Again, we'll go over Adora's thing hopefully tomorrow. It feels like you're forcing me to go down this certain path instead of just like laying out the evidence. Like when I go over the Cinder docs, there was emotion behind that. But that stuff made sense. Like a lot of the things they were going over within the Cinder docs, that made sense. They were giving you examples of the actual events in question. They did it in a very, I'm not going to say a fast way, but they got to the points that they needed to get to, and then they moved on for the next person to lay out the points they needed to lay out. That made more sense, and that didn't feel like a narrative type way. That felt like, hey, we're laying out this evidence. And there was a lot of evidence. So we're laying out the evidence. You're going to piece it together and you'll naturally come to the end result. Only the weirdos that didn't come to the end result and try to dig deeper into it that I don't think there's a there. This feels like you're forcing me to follow a path where when you're giving me the evidence as of right now, I believe you, but when you're trying to do like hey, this is coercive control, this is, you know, very narrative focused, this is how it felt, this is the emotions that were going on, you know, this is the style. It feels like, and I'm not trying to say you're acting this way, I'm trying to lay this out as an example of my way. This feels like when Amber Heard was talking about Johnny Depp on the stand. You know, the commentary of some of the other things that are going on, the very colorful language that was being used, the way you address those things, it feels like you're Amber Hearding me, for lack of a better term. Like you are trying to manipulate me and spin me on this narrative path, and you're going to these very specific ways, like, you know, my dog stepped on a bee, you know, I'm telling you about like how the weather was, how this was going on. That's the kind of feel I'm getting from this, and I'm not fond of this. Lay out the evidence and we'll tackle the evidence together. Lay out the line of events, how this is going on, but you have so much of this extra stuff that that's why it's 93 pages long. Is all this extra things here, like just say, hey, I was a third party that was involved in this. I was their best friends. They meant a lot to me. We were all really close. If I was straight, I would have boinked one of them. I sat in on these conversations. They weren't what they were, and Adora was coming off very defensive, wasn't being very straightforward, was talking like, was very much not getting to the points, and whenever we tried to like confront her on something, she was dodging it. You would say that. Instead, this feels very colorful, and it's not working the way it's turning me off from it all. But last time, Adora already read through all this. Sorry, you feel it comes to this when Radia finally blurted out she had tried to take her own life. Adora's response was an utterly hollow, almost eerie. See that part. You could say Adora's response was a very uncharacteristic, okay, I hope you get help. Like the almost eerie. That is that colorful language I'm talking about. You know, like the when Amber Heard talks about getting slapped in the face and falling onto the ground and commenting on how the ground's dirty. Remove that. That is that narrative that we're trying to get. I don't like. Talk about the facts. Talk about what you were, that stuff. Don't do the almost eerie. You could say Adora's response was kind of hollow. Okay, I hope. Adora's response was a hollow, okay, I hope you get help. That's all you needed. But the almost eerie, that's that narrative that Crocodile was pointing out, and that's the thing that's really pushing me away from this. The call finally ended when we simply grew exhausted of trying to get her to say literally anything else. See, that's simple enough. Straight to the point. Maybe Adora was ready to finally bury the hatchet, but would you trust someone who had driven you to suicide? Well, to Minecraft, who couldn't even apologize to tell you what you had done so wrong to offend them, or even offer any hint of remorse or guilt. As so, I choose to help make this document, adding in sections where I think it should be made obvious to the reader the kind of person Adora is, though I am not qualified to offer a diagnosis. You're really not. I can assure you this is behavior I recognize and know well. I lived with it every day for a decade. These are the actions of an abuser, one who delights in the feelings of power and control they hold over others. I truly hope I am wrong, but I don't think I am. I mean, we could probably figure that out. Here's my other thing, okay? They talked about how they didn't record some of these interactions, but if this is going to be the final thing, wouldn't you want to actually probably record that just to be on the safe side? Like when did they give us a date on when this actually went down? No, they didn't. But if this is the final interaction to try to bury the hatchet, and if you know at this point in time that they're going around talking to other people, wouldn't it be a smart idea to record this interaction? Just to be on safe side. Like that's kind of how I'm viewing this. And I feel like you didn't do your due diligence that much. Note, while Laserpig is seen as a close friend by many within the VTubing sphere, he still remains sometimes something of an outsider. He is in a different world. However, Laserpig has been the subject of abuse previously, having been in several abusive relationships under both his family and from someone he loved for over 10 years. He recognizes the language. I don't give a shit. Like, I've been in an abusive relationship. Guess what? I can recognize it too, and I can point it out. I don't know, Adam. Like, I can recognize abuse. I've been in an abusive relationship, but I don't go around doing the whole, like, well, I know abuse. I know it when I see it. No, I do, like, yes, I was in an abusive relationship. I had to take some abusive courses. I had to do all of this stuff. I can recognize it when I see it, but I'm never out here like, I understand abuse and the thoughts of the abuser. No, it's like, I have some details. I can kind of see some stuff. That's about it. Recognize it, move on. Anonymous account of doxing. Note, it is necessary to note that can we not do the it's necessary to note? Can we just say it is necessary that this individual was willing to provide a statement and DM evidence of Adora's doxing of Radia, but also asked for their name to be removed due to concerns regarding their professional obligations and their own mental health. As above, the statement is too wide to realize. Okay, on June 5th, 2025, I was having a conversation with Adora Bunny. During this conversation, she informed me that she was distancing herself due to several reasons, including the fact that Radia had allegedly lied about her master's degree. Adora brought up Radia's LinkedIn, and I stated that I didn't know Radia's IRL name to even be able to look it up. She then gave me Radia's IRL name. Since June 5th, Adora has removed the name, but I also have the search history from that day. I was sent Radia's name, even though I did not know it previously, nor should I have ever known it unless Radia herself told me. That is a fact. You don't have the right to be sharing that around. That is a dox, plain and simple. If you're sharing around somebody's private name, even in the VTuber sphere, the private name is even more protected than anything else, but let's just follow this logically. If you're sharing around private information of anybody, whether that be a name, some of their history, some of that stuff, that is classified as doxing. It doesn't fucking matter what you want to say. It's like, well, I didn't do it publicly. That's still doxing. I've been through the situation myself. It's fucked. Oh, on an unrelated note, letting you know I am going to be distancing from Radia here soon, as is Palm and Fan. Unfortunately, during Anime North, a series of small lies happened that she wouldn't take any responsibility for. Excuse me. And now when we looked around, we realized, unfortunately, she's lying about her degrees. She just has a bachelor's, no master's. It's why I didn't stream Wednesday. I'm just really devastated. If you need to prove, we saw this at the beginning, by the way. If we need proof, we looked at her LinkedIn. Radia at no point Radia at no point consented to her to the sharing of her IRL information or socials to others, especially to those outside the situation entirely. And neither did I, which was why that situation was so fucked. Anna Marchi's statement. Anna Marchi? Oh, okay. I want to make it clear that from the outset of the situation a few months ago, I made it abundantly clear to all parties concerned that I wanted no part of this entire fiasco in any capacity. In fact, I was completely oblivious to any wrongdoing on the part of everyone involved. They all did STEM. I don't give a shit. Prior to me being notified, and quite frankly, it should have remained that way, I had no idea what was going on, and I had no desire to desire to know. However, the fact that I am now publicly involved and openly partisan is a testament to both the severity of the situation and vindication of Radia's position. My involvement in this drama began immediately after Adora submitted her demands seemingly on behalf of Project STEM to Radia as an outlined in the associated documents. I received a Discord call at something like 4 a.m. Australian time for Adora, who informed me about the developing situation and the escalating conflict between Radia and the rest of Project STEM. Now I want to make it clear here, I am on friendly terms with every member in this VTuber group. At least I hope so. So this came as something of a shock, given I had no warning of inclination this was happening. All of a sudden at 4, I am being told that a dear friend of mine and the romantic partner of one of my best friends, Digital Vagrant, is apparently engaged in defrauding her audience, begging for money due to her various medical conditions, while simultaneously undermining the lives and personal relationships of the other members of Project STEM. Why can't we have more shit like this? Because this is very just straight to the point. Now, to be fair to Adora, which given the circumstances seemed ridiculous, yet context is vital, I've known Radia for a while now and have heard more about personal life than most of her, with the expectation of the aforementioned individuals involved in this scandal. For the sake of her privacy, I will not divulge specifics, but suffice to say, her medical issues and personal traumas are very real, experiences which have resulted in serious issues regarding her neurological ability to socials. There aren't enough letters in the alphabet to provide an acronym for the amount of HDs and TISMs. That's funny. She possesses, layered upon a physical wreck of a frail constitution. The upshot of this being that when Radia is finally comfortable with someone and able to open up, her scientific and analytical mind gives her the tendency to be hyper self-conscious while simultaneously being exceedingly direct. She has said publicly on streams that the reason she got into streaming as a VTuber was to have an anonymous identity where she could meet people and improve her social skills without having to worry about the constraints of her real life. She is Superman. Yes, she is. So when Adora said that Radia had been insensitive, spoken out of turn, and shared information and opinions that hurt both her and the people around her, I had no reason not to believe her. I considered Adora a very close personal friend and wanted to believe that if such a thing were happening, she wouldn't lie or exaggerate. However, I also suspected that while these concerns of Adora's were legitimate, I got the feeling that Radia had simply not been told about any of these issues prior to the point of it blowing up in her face, and that Radia was simply being open and honest about her thoughts and feelings, which had been misrepresented as hostility and outright malicious social maneuvering. I mentioned this to Adora, and she told me that it had been a constant ongoing issue that was coming to a head with the support of the other members of Project STEM. As such, I spoke to my friend Pom. We're just gonna say Pom because that's Pom Master, who corroborated Adora's story, but at the same time, she admitted that she was not exactly happy about the way Adora was going about it, expressing concern that there was meaning girl bullshit going on. And I started to have a sneaking suspicion that all this was not as it seemed, but at the time, I said to everyone I was going to embrace the skills of my Swiss German ancestors and embrace neutrality on top of my own little mountain and avoid it all. You know what? I like this one. I like this one a lot. I like the way this guy's going about how it's very direct, it's to the point, it's not very flavorful, and I like that a whole lot more. I am gonna point this out. Why aren't all these people making their own docs? Why do we have to have one super doc? Because that's, again, why this doc is so freaking long, is because you have a super doc where everybody got involved to make the doc. One of the good parts about, like, the Cinder thing was everybody made their own unique doc. They obviously corroborated all the evidence within the previous doc as well, but that made it very easy to go about, very easy to follow, direct to the point on each doc. This is a super doc where you have very different individuals coming together to speak out on one person, makes this mega doc that people honestly don't have enough time for. Do the individual docs, lay them all out, have the series of docies come out. We can all make the jokes we want, but that's straight to the point and we know what's relevant and what's not. We can go to those points a whole lot faster. In regards to, like, this, I'm using the Cinder thing as an example here. I can ignore the guy that she cheated with. Okay, because I think that's just really establishing red shit, which we already had. I think the spite stuff is relevant, but that's only to spite specific thing. I don't need to go about that in a massive doc. The things that were really important during the Cinder situation was how she treated Bao, Nano, Cottontail, which Cottontail made a video, not a document. Bao's editor was actually important because of some of the constraints that were going on there and some of the claims that was made by Red and Cinder. And then you pick up Silverveil's doc and also Silverveil's stream. Those are some of the main things you need during the Cinder during the Cinder situation. Shylilly's videos, Shylilly's comments, and some of the other people that actually knew them in person. Those are the relevant details. You can go out, find all those pieces, bring them together in a mega video. That's all. But when you have this mega doc with people that aren't really important to the situation and are just like helping out with all this stuff, they could have put out their own corroborating documents. That would have made it a whole lot easier for people to follow along, be a part of this. One mega doc where there's 93 pages, people get turned off from that and want to walk the other way. This isn't as successful as you think it is. So I sat on my own and waited it out, watching things unfold while making a pointed effort not to get involved. Regardless of what happened, I was resolved to stay friends with everyone because as far as I was concerned, this was mean girl bullshit, and everyone was acting like immature children who just needed to sit down and hammer out their differences. I personally must admit I didn't believe Adora's accusations against Radia regards using her medical condition to raise money. She has been open with her audience about her physical health, and I wasn't on the stream where she supposedly did it. And it didn't come off that way at all. However, like with all the neutral nations in times of conflict, eventually circumstances are going to bring the war to you, whether you like it or not. And in many cases, it was the attempt by Adora to undermine Radia's relationship with Digital Vagrant. Now forgive me, but I have a confession of my own to make. I am perhaps the most stereotypical man there is. Okay. If there is an entry for toxic masculinity stereotype, I hate this word. You'll find my picture there. At this point, I was happy to remain neutral because I wanted nothing to do with the drama, even involving my friends. I figured they were adults and could sort things out themselves. The words I used at the time were, "They're big girls, they can handle it on their own." However, an attack on one of the boys is another thing entirely. So I started talking to Digi to find out the extent of what was going on, only to be met with a completely different story from what Adora told me. This naturally led to alarm bells going off, so I finally decided to sit down and speak to Radia, who again gave a completely different story. Alright, so now I knew something was wrong. I went around everyone I knew who was at least aware of the situation, and sure enough, their version of events did not match up to the version of the story I got from Adora. Then I decided to feel my way around some of the people who weren't aware of what was going on, only to discover that half of the VTuber community apparently knew. I had been told by Adora in a voice chat that Project STEM was going to keep the dispute in-house to protect the careers of everyone involved. They stressed they didn't want to hurt Radia and wanted her to improve herself and come back like a concerned friend strategy and intervention, only for me to find out that Adora had essentially spread the information about the ongoing drama to half of the friends and several very large creators. While I can't name names, there were at least 2 creators who are concerned globally famous in the VTuber space, who actively began asking questions about Radia to senior figures in the community, including sponsors, to find out what was going on because they'd heard the rumors. So I began asking around my friends and chasing up the rumors, only to once again get a completely different story from each one. I even found out she had been doing similar things to a number of creators who she supposedly concerned friends, and that several of my friends had essentially been bullied out of the communal space by Adora for various reasons that I knew to be completely and utterly nonsense. However, from their privacy, I shall not elaborate. This is what the other guy should have done. Again, should be its own Google Doc, but this is straight to the point, getting all the information we need. Why did Laserpig do this stuff? This is like Johnny Depp on the stand, like, hey, this is what happened. There you go. The other guy was like Amber Heard on the stand. Oh, the colorful feels. I remember the temperature of everything. This is straight to the point, and I like it. Give me more of this. It's now become obvious what was happening. Adora was very intentionally spreading rumors and slandering Radia, making all kinds of accusations, and then customizing the story to achieve the maximum effect. By the way, Kickbot, bye Felicia, if I can get it. Bye Felicia. Oh, the goddess beat me. Adora customizing, she had framed her story as an ethical concern to me because she knows my left-wing political views would make me sympathetic to issues regarding the principles of ethics and justice. She changed the story to one about betrayal when talking to her girlfriends. She changed it to one of business concerns when talking to her professional acquaintances. And in every single case, she edited the information to remove any wrongdoing or mishandling of the situation on her part. The severity with which she persuaded it, the threats and aggressive moves she made while doing it, the attempt to spread slanderous rumors to every corner of the community could only mean one thing. Adora was intentionally attempting to destroy Radia's career, and the more she said and did, the more obvious it became she had no interest in reaching an amicable acceptance conclusion to the situation. No problem, Legatus. Thus, I was asked to act as a go-between to do some reconnaissance and find out what was going on because Adora and I were still on good terms at this stage. So I decided to go incognito and very carefully ask her what was going on, saying that I had heard a bunch of conflicting stuff and I was worried that it could hurt all my friends, which was definitely me being very polite. I gave her every single courtesy and handled it delicately. I desperately wanted the entire affair to be resolved peacefully and efficiently, to everyone's satisfaction, without risk the livelihoods of the people involved. This is where the screenshots of my conversation came from. She spun the entire thing as though she was a master politician, accused Digi of being a misogynist for pointing out that the members of Project STEM were being rather aggressive towards Radia with the wording of the document and the manner in which it was delivered, only to tell me I actually realized afterwards you didn't need to be involved and I'm sorry for mentioning it, perhaps realizing she made a mistake involving me, which she had. Well, I can figure that out. Oh, god damn, this is gonna be long. Okay, chat, buckle up. That's all good. I just wanted to check in on the whole situation going on because I'm starting to get dragged in by virtue of the fact that there seems to be factions forming. I don't want to get involved, but Digi is one of my close friends and he is royally pissed off right now. He has kept it between the people who know at present, and I'm wondering WTF is going on really. Because to be honest, this is getting out of hand fast, and I'm wondering what's going on. I wouldn't worry too much about factioning, but unfortunately, I ended up spotting more lies that I'm not happy about. In the end, I don't really care what Digi says in this, since I had to watch him when he talked to Palm call her aggressive literally as the first thing he ever said to her, when she was literally talking normally, lol. I do think it's flexible, but really is up to Ray the next time we talk to her. I genuinely don't care if you remain friends with folks, by the way. It doesn't involve you, and anyone who says you need to pick a side is sorely mistaken. I literally realized it didn't involve you when I talked with you, lol. I'm hoping that's the case, because I was intending on staying friends with everyone anyway. I consider you all very close friends. I can read. Which is why I desperately want to fix this, and no one has asked me to pick sides. However, they asked me to help resolve things if possible. Excuse me. Radia can be an insensitive, arrogant, and oblivious to people's feelings, as well as rude and uncaring, but she seems perfectly willing to apologize, at least from what she said to me. I don't know, man. Everyone upset and angry, and it's not good vibes. With the lies, I realized while just sort of reflecting or at the very least gaslighting, it would be difficult for me to continue to be friends with her and is admittedly most in her court in that regard. But I don't know if you could do anything to fix that. I'm not going to speak on what the lies are since I genuinely don't want to bias you in this regard. Well, I mean, wouldn't you want to inform him of what the lies are? Because if he doesn't know what the lies are, then how is he supposed to be aware of what the lies are? Like, I get you don't want, he's the neutral party, but he's obviously not the neutral party. But if he does, if you are saying, hey, there's a bunch of lies and it's not all good, shouldn't you tell him what the lies are? I don't get not telling him. She did reach out to Palm and Finn, not me, but I also told her to give me a break, distance for a bit, so I can't be upset about that. So I figure when we do talk again, I can hopefully end well. It can hopefully end well and be a road to healing. This was on 8, so that would have been just a few days ago, right? That was just a few days ago. No, that was July 6th. What? No. Yeah, that would have been August 6th. Yeah, that's August 6th. That was Wednesday. Shit. What? I hope so too, because the stuff I heard was all very hostile from everyone on both sides. No one seems able to communicate peacefully here, and to be honest, I don't know if their relationship is repairable in the short term from where I'm sitting. If you want my opinion, I think what needs to happen is clear. Cut boundaries and demands from everyone so proper negotiations can happen. Set up an actual plan for peace. That way it resolves itself one way or another. I just hope that it can be resolved happily rather than in disaster, because I don't want you or any of the people involved in this shithole to get hurt any more than it is. I will say, I do genuinely believe it was not hostile at all on our side, and Digi is heavily biased due to dealing with Ray's crash out over like a week. Trust me, we approached as gently as we could without literally babying. He is biased because he's the boyfriend and he's having to deal with this. So yes, 100% he's biased. Oh, we already saw that. The note, these dates formats is in contrast to the rest of the screenshots present are in Australian date format, DDMM year, rather than month, day, year. Oh, so this wasn't in August. Okay. That's my bad. After this interaction, we decided we needed help, so Digi and I coordinated with Laserpig to act as another neutral party. Well, he wasn't neutral. To confirm our suspicions. As evidenced by this earlier statement, he did confirm our suspicions. The rest of the story you can find in other parts of this document as form that point onwards. I very intentionally avoid speaking to Adora or hanging out in her server, choosing to instead help Radia recover from the immense emotional trauma inflicted on her. Trauma which very nearly cost her life. An outcome that, should it have come to pass, would have been devastating loss to the world and shameful indictment on behavior which has become I can't read. Distressingly common in the VTuber community, behavior perpetuated by vindictive, spiteful individuals. But what hurts me the most is that Adora was a close friend and member of my initial trade union. To me, it always appeared that she used her platform to elevate and collaborate with other creators. We are stronger together, not apart. We do not have to tear each other down to advance. We can march forward as one, inspiring our colleagues to greater achievements with our own success, helping the smaller talents among us shine through to come to the fore. Oh, we can achieve so much if we work together. I'm tired of all this. Just get back to the point. Yeah, Adora, like I get what you were doing there. This is like her thing, but you said it over and over again, and I got bored. Yet Adora and others like her, most famously a certain infernal canine. Okay, that's a good shot. Do nothing except tear others down, projecting their insecurities and inferiority complex on people who trusted them to have their back. Adora's actions are not just immoral, they are betrayal of both the personal and professional trust of everyone around her. And in doing so has brought shame not only on her, but on myself as well. She was a friend and fellow comrade who I supported without questioning the situation until it was almost too late. And I will not absolve myself of that responsibility of my failure to hold her directly to account until now. How many more pages of this? 43. Suffice to say, solidarity is stronger than division. Supporting each other is the only way to triumph over both AI and... Oh, give a shit. Not tearing each other down, and with that in mind, I issue this statement as both one supporter of Radia and warning against the evils of abusive relationships and content creation. I'm going back to history YouTube now. It's safer there. At least there people just question my intellect and yell slurs at me that I could deal with. Okay, that's based. That's based. Party demon statement. Why do I... Okay, I've gotten it. Okay, I've gotten it. I don't need another statement. I don't. I'm sorry. We've come to the point that it's pretty self-explanatory. Put out your own separate docs. Please, for the love of God. How many statements do I have? How many statements? Party demon's the last one. Discord harassment. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. How long have I been going? 3 hours? This is gonna be a long ass fucking video at this point. Discord harassment. How long? I'm looking at all this. How long is... Why? This is why your fucking thing's so long. We don't need all their stupid statements. They can put out their own separate docs. I'm moving forward. I'm actually getting annoyed at this point. Like, I've figured out she's fine. Okay, I've figured it out. I don't need all these other people's statements. Discord harassment. During the course of Radia's attempt to move on, she discovered that any attempt to speak about what happened in anything resembling a public fashion would be met with retaliation. Adora announced a hiatus during June, apparently due to poor mental health and needing to be a better person to those around me. And we already looked at that. Well, we haven't looked at this, but I'm just going to take your word for it. I'm just continuing to move forward because I'm so tired of this already. I'm tired of everybody involved because you should have just done, this is us, this is us, this is us. Radia assumed quite reasonably this may have included her poor treatment and saw this as an opportunity time to quell questions of why she was no longer streaming with Adora as quietly and non-committally as possible. She proceeded to make a short statement near the end of stream and ping to her streaming announcement role in her Discord, attempting to explain her separation from Adora without appearing as if there was any drama to dig it. Note as the statement was too wide. At Radia Ping, for those who were not present, this is the written statement from today. Good evening, folks. I'm sure there has been some relative curiosity into why I am not been present with Adora streams, nor she on mine. As outlined by her hiatus announcement, she is taking a period of mental health and self-restoration spurred on by a negative mental space, which caused her, okay, we already got this. I will not be detailing actions taken as I'm not in the business of sharing, okay? This past month has left me deeply saddened by the circumstances and actions taken while in the immediate foreseeable future. I will be continuing to bark on my own path in regards to my friendship with Adora. I only express my deepest sympathies and support while we could grow to nurture that bond. The future is uncertain, but it's certain. Okay, I get it. Please know this changes nothing on the community level. It is merely a period of request. Okay. This action was met on an immediate and an angry response from Adora, both in DMs, publicly, and her Discord. Hi everyone, I've noticed some speculation around my current hiatus, so I wanted to gently clarify this break is something I chose for my own mental wellness and personal reflection. It's not related to anyone else or any external situation. Out of respect for myself at this moment, I won't be speaking further on it, and I appreciate your understanding, kindness, and continued support. So since there is now a public statement, I'm going to say this again. Our situation has nothing to do with this hiatus. Do not speak on my behalf. You have no actual idea why I took this hiatus because you have not been speaking with me for almost 2 weeks. My communication lines remain open as well. Well, you've been isolating her. I don't give a shit. Hiatus lines are open as well. You do what's best for you. I'm happy to hear you are getting the help you need. That's great. But once again, do not speak on my behalf. I agree, Adam. Later that day, Radio was informed that fellow streamers and friends Adora, Alicia Life, and had pinged her entire Discord to disparage Radia for her comments in an immature and accusatory fashion. Oh, Rat Queen. Oh, okay. Okay. Hey, Irish Whips. I'm so over this doc right now. I'm so over this doc. Hey folks, so I was made aware of a bullshit statement made by Radia about Adora. I want to say it is bullshit. Adora is taking a break because her and I had amazing heart-to-heart about life and growth. This didn't involve Radia. Don't know why she is making it about herself, lol. Well, she was just talking about herself. She was like, hey, she's over here, I'm over here, we're separated. You all know I don't fuck with Radia after she pressured you guys to donate to her and got mad that someone mentioned supporting me. Now this is just getting weird as fuck. Here is her random ass statement she made in her community. Adora is completely fine. This was a decision she made, blah, blah, blah. Alicia is a well-known and sizable VTuber with an extremely large community. Directing the ire of her community at Radia was both grossly irresponsible and considering the dangers of online fans and clearly relation at Radia for speaking up to try to address anyone about what was happening. Oh my god, and I have a bot over on Twitch. Fuck off, bot. Fuck off. Officially 18,000 Discord members. My rat army continues to grow stronger and filled with more cheese. Thank you for your support and cheers offerings. Now, to be fair, I think Alicia has her own perspective on all this. As far as I know, Alicia hasn't come out and made a statement. She quote tweeted the doc and there's a bunch of other stuff. She's still mad at this. Alicia is awesome, same annoying bits as before, but she survived cancer. Yeah, I have no problem. I don't really have a problem with her. She's just a little bit more aggressive, for lack of a better term, and she has the right to be aggressive in some regards. I think she might be a little overbearing in this one. I don't want to read all this shit. At the time of her Discord announcement, it was unknown to me how large her Discord community was. I'm a busy woman and not in the habit of occupying numerous Discords, so I never took it upon myself to look. Okay, I don't. Yes, this is not a good thing. Okay, this is not a good thing. Alicia should have probably reached out to figure out more, but she's obviously painted against Radia. Okay, I'm doing that. As stated above in Radia's statement, Alicia had previously abruptly cut contact mere minutes after the conclusion of a conversation where Radia was ejected from Project STEM, citing an incident where Radia had disrespected one of her community members. This incident in question was confirmed by multiple third parties to be beginning. I don't know. Radia had snapped at a chatter for attention seeking after they repeated multiple times through the stream that they could not donate to them because they had given it all to their rat queen. This is known faux pas heavily faux pas, known heavily faux pas, heavily frowned upon in many streaming circles. Yeah, I don't have a problem with this. If she snapped, probably wouldn't have snapped, but ban them. But obviously people don't have the full story there, but I definitely do not think I can go forward with D&D at this time with Radia involved. She refuses to respond to my message while I also make public statements on behalf of reasons why I took a hiatus. I took the hiatus because my effing house was a disaster and my hygiene was bad and my depression was making me act rash and badly towards everyone. I haven't talked to her in weeks and chose the hiatus for myself. So I'm going, okay, but she didn't even make she just said that you're gone. You guys were obviously good friends. She made a statement, even though you guys weren't good friends anymore, just to say, hey, we're not really talking about it. That's fine. There's nothing big here. And I can already tell that Alicia's negatively aimed towards you. You talking about Alicia or are you talking about Radia? Because I'm willing to bet Radia 100% talked on stream about this. Note, it is unknown if Alicia is aware of the extent of Andora's campaign or the depth of her deception. I can say I don't think she is, because here, when I go back through this, for example, like this, she didn't even know what was going on here. So I'm willing to bet she doesn't. I'm being careful of scrolling through Alicia's actual thing because she posts a lot of good looking pictures, but thinking about it, all of them, Alicia is fine. I think Alicia is just aggressive. That's my perspective on it all. The message received by Radia was extremely clear at this point. Any sign of perceived defiance or attempt to speak publicly on what had happened would be met with immediate and disproportionate punishment. Whatever guilt Adora had publicly stated, Radia was apparently not part of. Plus, we already know that Adora does paint people against Radia, so Alicia could be like a victim of that. Like, there's things that you can go off of this. Do I like how Alicia treats Radia? No, but we have all this. So, addendum, anonymous account. The main thing I can say is this. The conversation was a week after I was on her stream and only weeks after she had recently referred to me as a close friend. Yet, when bigger streamer went to attack my character and credibility by telling a lie that Adora knows for a fact is a lie, she chose to leave me to the wolves of her bigger, more successful friend. Despite constant claims of telling me she was actively trying to be a better person, she dropped me the moment her bigger friend went after me. Friends do not do that or let their friends do that to others. I've learned that at the end of the day, whatever kind of word promises she will make you, at the end of the day, Adora looks out for one person, and that's Adora. Okay. Off-Kai harassment. Okay, this is something going to be interesting. During the course of this campaign, Radia decided to attend Off-Kai. As she had made travel arrangements before the intention of hostilities and did not want to see them go to waste, it was her intention to avoid straying into the same space as any of her former friends and focus on reconnecting with other friends that she had been forced to distance herself from due to ongoing stress of the situation. Adora continued her campaign of harassment here. Radia was left feeling completely locked out of social spaces due to Adora's heavy presence and rummaging this culminated in a completely unrelated third-party individual being approached by a known friend of Adora who had spotted them speaking to Radia and launched abruptly into cryptic, threatening statements about people getting what they deserve. Statements that profoundly disturbed them once Radia had walked away. That's fucked. A corroborating statement, the below DM, okay. I was talking to Radia on the last day of the con, and we I'm getting over this because there's just so much here. We are nearing the end, thankfully, but goddamn. Radia, at the end of the day, the individually wound in the meeting up in the same area. Adora was around. Radia excused herself to the bathroom for a sec and left me alone, and while she was gone, approached me. We had blank approached me, I guess. We had talked before at other cons, so this was not unusual to casually approach me, but the conversation went from cordial to weirdly intense as she seemed to threaten me in some words of people will get what's coming to them and reap what they sow, or something to that effect. I feigned ignorance and didn't rise to the veiled threat and simply wrapped up the conversation and wished them well, but the conversation stuck in my mind and distinctly strange. It is after this event that Radia was unexpectedly contacted by Fen. Over the course of multiple hour calls, she apologized profusely for her role in the initial intervention. She confirmed that neither her nor Palm had been aware of what had been sent to Digital Vagrant, nor that it had been doctored prior to the sending in a way that placed the majority of the comments focused on the two of them. She was further instrumental in confirming privately the extent of Adora's duplicity, I can speak, and doxing, provided key info on how to reach out to and attempt to determine how far things had spread and what lies had been told. Fen was able to corroborate that Radia was not imagining things. Adora had embarked on an unhinged campaign to undermine Radia's life of her own volition. This so disturbed the other two members of Project STEM that they proceeded to distance themselves from Adora after failing to convince her to stop. It is also interesting to note that near the simultaneously, Radia received the only thing reasonable and apology from Adora's side. We have confirmed that this apology was likely spurred on by disruption of Adora's own friendships due to the discovery of duplicity. Radia was not the only one receiving incredibly belated apology messages at the same time, leaving this a likely case of love bombing, i.e. damage control. Okay, we can already figure that out. As far as we are aware, only Adora's victims receive messages such as these. She did not contact anyone she had spun lies to. Okay. The apology in question is below. Hi, Ray. I just wanted to say I think I know why everything has happened recently, and it was my fault on the biggest miscommunication of my effing life. We wrote notes to help us during the intervention call so we could remain to talk about stuff we were concerned about and keep on track. In my stupidity, when Digi asked for what happened and Fen told me to send over some bullet points of what was said, I just sent a poorly edited down version. There is no cancel doc. There never will be one. Well, that's obviously false. And we never wanted one, but I can fully see why you saw it that way. I never wrote one for blank. Why would I write one about my best friend? I'm so sorry for my incompetence and all the unnecessary pain it caused. Well, we can already figure out that this is a lie. How much more do I have? Doxing, Discord harassment, addendum, off-Kai harassment already there. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there, chat. We're almost there. We're getting there. Note the screenshot has been edited to redact personal information about Adora. Okay. This message is extremely disingenuous. Radia had not attempted to interfere or speak ill of Palm or Fan at all during this, or even spoken to them at all beyond the last conversation, deciding her ousting from Project STEM. It claims all of Adora's actions to be misunderstanding, couched the message in more subtle accusations, and with zero offer to correct the lies she told either privately or publicly. It also directly lied. Radia was by this point now well aware at this point that Adora did not consider her a best friend and hadn't for the better part of a year, as confirmed by a third party. Rather than assuage Radia's concerns, this put the nail in the coffin of any hope Radia had to that Adora had any intention of even trying to correct the damage she had. This apology, if you can even call it one, was couched with the accusation in and itself my ire, as you so call it, was never directed at anyone but myself, as I tore myself apart mentally for weeks as false accusations were lobbed at me, and I lamented over the possibility of unintentionally hurting friends' feelings over unknown and perceived uncommunicated situations. Okay, I don't really care. Let's move on to the Minecraft attempt. Cut off from her friends, isolated from her support network, and with the fear of permanent ostracization from one of the few things in her life that brought her joy, Radia's mental health went into a sharp dive. On July the 12th, Radia attempted to to Minecraft herself. I have to be very careful here, okay? TOS. It is only through the actions of her roommate and her partner driving through the night and of the crisis hotline that Radia called that she did not succeed. That's actually good. I'm happy to see that she's here. Minecrafting people is bad, guys. Please do not Minecraft people. By the way, I'm going to go solo just to make sure. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure nothing else was shown here. Guys, Minecrafting is bad. Okay, we all agree on that. I hate that she had to go through that, but current state of affairs. Okay, we're nearing the end. This section will attempt to provide a look at what the current state of affairs is, additionally, relevant information analysis and corroborating evidence, as well as conclusion to draw the document to a close. Ongoing effects. Radia has in no way managed to recover from her ordeal. She remains in a continued state of mental decline. Even as this document is being written, Radia frequently tries to isolate herself from the collective which has sought to aid her, and will often lament it would be easier to leave the streaming world behind or to just disappear. I don't blame her for still actually feeling this way, considering this was just like a few months ago. Like this all happened starting in like May and just recently ended. Like this has been going on for 2 months now. I don't blame her. Like she hasn't actually had a chance to contemplate what happened, and she's gonna be like this for a little while. Nobody goes through the Minecrafting attempt without actually having issues. So I don't blame her for not feeling this way still. She continues to suffer from a variety of effects, both lingering and recent, including but not limited to. By the way, this was July 12th. Like that wasn't too long ago, chat. I know it's August, but July wasn't but too long ago. That's insane. And isn't Offkai also in July, or is that in June? I don't remember. I need to look at that. Like this was all going on for the past couple months, and this is a lot. This is a lot. Returning bouts of Minecraft ideation due to the ongoing inability to clear her name or even speak her side of the story. Ongoing physical symptoms, shortness of breath, recurring fevers, faintness spells, etc. as the result of extreme stress aggravating her chronic and serious medical condition. There is a reasonable chance some of the damage done will be permanent. I mean, some of it probably will, but she'll have to get through that. Radia continues to struggle with reaching out to her friends and those in her seriously damaged support network, with no idea how far Adora's slander will spread. She fears what others will think ill of her, and that they will no longer wish to speak with her. She has been terrified that people will accuse her of forcing others to pick sides. It is this pressure that has made it so difficult to speak out publicly. I mean, think of Alicia. Alicia don't fuck with her. And Alicia's a big streamer. Like, this is serious shit. Radio was forced to stop most streams for 2 weeks in an attempt to placate Adora's demands for contrition. Not only did this make no difference, but massively slashed her revenue at a time when she had numerous medical bills coming due and had been forced to take an effective pay cut at her day job. Radia's expenses due to the family she needs to support and her own medical issues are extremely high. This is serious and a series of events directly endangered her ability to meet those obligations, and her ability to stream has been compromised due to this day for sheer stress. Radia's roommate, whom she was helping to afford attending college, was forced to move out and make alternate arrangements due to severe hits to that Radia's income took during this. What? What? So wait, Radia was actually affording her room? What? That's fucked. Radia was forced to delay re-entry into college classes to further her education. This resulted in her irreversible loss of nearly $10,000 in educational assistance funds from her employer. What? Radia continues to live in fear of Adora restarting her campaign. Adora does not have a job outside of streaming and spends the majority of her time online, as this documents last knowledge. Conversely, Radia has a full-time job. Her content career, a relationship, a household to manage, pet ownership, and a myriad of other obligations. She quite literally does not, nor ever, have the time to win the internet fight with someone who has considerably more time to devote to it than her. I mean, I'm in the same boat. If I get into an internet fight, I'm gonna lose because I'm constantly doing shit. Like, this is fucked. You have a terminally online person going after somebody with a lot of real life shit. This isn't a fair fight. Early signs of abuse. During the compilation of this document, Radia found the courage to begin examining her past interactions with Adora and realized that she had been enduring poor treatment for far longer than she understood. Treatment she brushed off as normal, or her concerns being selfish. In the interest of properly portraying these, Radia will be speaking on this treatment in her own words, which, I mean, I'm not going to be shocked if this is the case. I'm kind of like, I want to be fair. Like, I do want to be fair here, but we've been going over this for a while now, and I don't have any reason to disbelieve like these are abusive, but we can look at here. We'll go over just a few of these just because this is going to be long. What the what is going? Oh, this is the medical issues. Okay. Let's just read this. In the weeks before departing from Anime North, I was asked by Adora to jump into a call with her to discuss a nagging matter. To preface this, the call was not recorded, and these are the only screenshots I can provide to A, prove this call occurred on the date on May 5th, mere weeks before Anime North, and B, show that I attempted to provide her additional resources to aid her with obtaining other art pieces from thumbnails to videos in her price range, as that was part of her central issue. Okay. During the concerns of this call, I was asked if I could step back from commissioning a thumbnail artist we shared and still do, who goes by QB. Adora asked that due to QB's workload delay, Quarter Black? Maybe that's it. Thumbnail delivery, if I would step back from QB, as she can't handle both thumbnail workloads, and Radia can afford an artist that is higher in price range. That's fucked. Like, if she likes QB, then she can keep using QB. You might just have to deal with that. Like, yeah, but they already have a good relationship. I can understand this. What is this? Understandable. Wait, okay. I'm just reading through because I I'm trying to be nice here, but I don't have time. Here, let's go into the medical issue. I will state that I am incredibly uncomfortable about diving into the severity of my physical issue. It is both incredibly embarrassing and shameful. You don't have anything reason to be shameful, but I get why it's embarrassing, as the reality can't be played off as mere aches, pains, bad days, or tummy troubles. My gastrointestinal system does not function without the assistance of various medication and enzymes. My ability to eat solid food is, in fact, entirely dependent on access to these medications. The motility in my intestines has degraded year by year, with the onset of issues first noticed about 2018. Initially, these issues caused me to suffer from a minor bout of constipation, which I thought little of when the issues first began. By 2019, my condition had devolved into constant vomiting, nausea, waste buildup, and repeated bowel obstructions, which required numerous hospital visits to clear the obstruction from my intestines. The process for attempting to clear a lower bowel obstruction, the most common of my obstructions under obstruction are another game. Upper obstructions are another game. Is a SMOG. It is an embarrassing procedure and one I do not personally wish to describe beyond comparison. I will only offer that you imagine the shame you would feel if multiple people circled around you as you were awake during colonoscopy. Oh, okay. I can figure this out. In the present day, I have the ingredients for SMOGs kept at home to help reduce the burden and embarrassment that an ER visit. Okay, so she basically has to do that herself. That is interesting. SMOG components pictured. Okay. I think we're pretty much figuring this out. Critical low electrolyte levels each day, such as dangerously low potassium, as my body avoids itself of large. Why the F are my chats not showing up? You know what? I've been seeing people mention that, and I'm not even seeing it. So let's see live chat. You know what? Apparently you and Static are both like getting censored, and I don't know why. Dehydration, fatigue, bloody stools, nausea and vomiting, multiple bowel movement, totaling an average of over a dozen daily. Okay. I think we get the picture here. Those are very extravagant nails, darling. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be looking at this, but I'm just like, those are very extravagant nails, and I'm not fond of them. Okay, I'm getting the picture here. I'm pretty much, yeah. We're coming to the very end. This is all about her blood things, and yeah. Yeah, this is all about her medical condition. I don't need any more. I don't need any more. I don't need any more. Additional notes. They haven't? That's weird, Adam. But I think we're pretty much getting to the end of this. Like, I'm gonna read the conclusion and we'll probably wrap it up there. But like, in fact, I really don't. I see it all. Adora was a bad person. There's a lot of my issues with the doc are there's a lot of things that you don't need to put in. There's a lot of things that you probably could have left out. All the other people's statements you could have left out. They could have done their own docies. Like there's tons of stuff in here that you just didn't need. I get why you put it in here because you want to be thorough and everything like that, but you just didn't need it. You built up a big doc that people are going to be too intimidated to actually address. And honestly, I'm getting to the point of I'm just tired of reading it. I'm like, I believe you at this point. But conclusion has become unfortunately more than obvious that this now goes beyond a silly internet drama spat between VTubers. This is now a very real and very dangerous situation, one that nearly ended in tragedy. Going public with this is unfortunate last resort attempt to halt Adora's grudge. All previous attempts at getting her to de-escalate and correct the record have failed. No amount of contrition, surrendered ground or spaces, or attempt at professional parting ways has satisfied her, and she has made no real attempt to apologize, correct the record, or de-escalate. Her only apology was a naked attempt at avoiding consequences and sandwiched between more lies. There is no justification for the unhinged lengths she has gone to in her attempts to oust Radia from the content community. She engaged in blatant spreading of falsehoods, twisted documentation, violated Radia's privacy, casually doxed her to other individuals, as well as directly and explicitly demanded Radia take cuts to her income and streaming presence as some form of penance, none of which appeased her in the slightest. Adora has shown zero remorse, offering no apologies, even when informed that Radia had needed to be taken to the emergency room. When she asked for even a token apology for the extreme disruption it had caused to multiple people's lives, or even when informed of Radia's attempt on her own life, rather than allowing disagreements and bruised feelings to be settled privately, she engaged in a months-long crusade to systematically dismantle Radia's entire support structure, despite knowing the extent to which Radia depended on it and the grievous harm it would cause her. This all took place during the run-up to the first anniversary of the death of Radia's brother. Well, okay then. There's a lot of things here that led up. Why did we have that at the beginning? That will explain some of Radia's actual, mental health issues right now and some other stuff. So yeah, that would have been actually probably something that you would put up more earlier to get why she was doing some stuff, because obviously she was in a bad mental health space. I'm not even going to deny that now. And by the way, Adam, I will be in there here soon. I'm going to try to wrap this up fast. This all took place, traumatic event that Radia's personally attests that Adora helped her through by effectively inserting herself as a surrogate sibling, something she has publicly proclaimed numerous times. It is impossible that Adora did not understand the damage she would do to Radia's mental health by doing this, especially at this time. Radia had not compiled any sort of document whatsoever at this point, nor had she attempted to express any kind of ire or hostile action. She constantly stated she merely wanted to be left alone. This document only began to be pulled together following the Minecraft attempts, as the situation could not be allowed to go on any longer. And I'm terribly sorry that you had to go through this. Jesus Christ. And I'm going to be honest again, the critique, this feels bad. I don't mean to do this, but you should have put this sooner. Because that gives light to a lot of different ways on how people should be perceiving this stuff, like why you were doing some of the stuff you were doing, why you were doing some of the actions you were taking. You were in a bad mental health space. Your brother lost. Radia, you were following somebody you perceived to be your sister. I would have put that at the very top for people like me who aren't aware of you that well. That actually could have helped out a whole lot. It took nearly losing her life and the near inconsolable grief of those close to her at nearly losing her finally get Radia to be willing to voice what had happened publicly. So great was her fear of being unkind and judged as guilty, so all consuming were her fears of further retaliation. I can't speak. What page? 86. Well, 85, 86. That even now she has required the assistance of several close friends to be able to put the words to print. Everything possible has been done to confirm and corroborate what has been written here. Double-checking DMs, reaching out to confirm eyewitness accounts, comparing documents. If Radia is lying, she has done so with totality and flawlessness that defies credibility and has successfully duped a vast variety of people. If Adora has any I can't speak. I can't speak. Why can't I speak? Exonerating evidence to the contrary, she has refused and or failed to produce it, even when approached by neutral third parties who merely wanted to hear her side of the story, which again, we will please be covering that tomorrow. That's only 43 pages. But I'd like to see. Adora's behavior throughout this ordeal has been on the borderline of narcissism. She has done everything in her power to isolate Radia from her friends and family, to force methods of control over her stream schedule, her finances, who she could and could not talk to, and at all times she would impose a constant stream of belittling, mockery, humiliation, and abuse dressed up as emotional concern. All this in order to keep Radia in a position where she would constantly have to doubt herself and be forced to apologize again and again, offering herself as tribute in the desperate need to please Adora. Still on the intro, I feel like it. These are the classic signs of abusive relationship, and it comes at a time where Radia would have been in an emotionally vulnerable position, something Adora was fully aware of, and we should have been fully aware of sooner. That actually would have been nice. While some of this may seem cutthroat and mean, it should be emphasized that Adora is not the victim here. Wait. Oh, yeah, yeah, she's not the victim, she's the perpetrator. While she has persistently played the victim in her audience, and many continue to do so in the future, nothing has actually happened to her. She has not faced consequences of any kind, though with the release of this document, she may now do so. What I have heard is some rumors that she might be leaving VTubing altogether. Adora's life, social status, reputation within the VTubing community, and her career as a content creator have been entirely unaffected and unchallenged. Her hiatus was due to unrelated issues that, to respect her privacy, we shall not dive into any further. While canceled documents may seem petty and dramatic, with some who were aware of this situation protesting strongly for the moral high ground walk away option, we will remind you again, this document is the final straw in a long series of negotiations where Adora was given every opportunity, subtle and obvious, to back out. She has been offered every courtesy that Radia has not. She has been talked to. She has been allowed to state her side of the story. She has been allowed to structure a narrative to her audience to protect herself where Radia has remained silent. While the just walk away approach may seem the morally correct thing to do, as it is a common mindset within the human condition to appeal to the abuser, had we the ability to resolve this without the public spotlight, we would have taken it. To be fair, Radia was being dragged behind the scenes. People had a negative perception of her. There was a lot of shit going down that needed to probably come out. I actually think this is the correct approach that needed to happen. My thing is, it should have been several different documents. Each time Adora would reject what was offered and double down, with the end result being additional punishment aimed at Radia, making this considerably worse for her. Radia can't turn the other cheek and walk away. Adora pursues her, enacting more punishment for each slight, and it makes things worse. And given where it has taken Radia, the definition of worse, the definition of worse could be interpreted as final. We'll also remind you, Radia is not the only person Adora has done this to. Though we have focused entirely on the situation around Radia, had we also included the ordeal of just a few victims we are aware of, we could have easily tripled the length of this document. It's already too long. There's an account from another victim of Adora's that can't be made public in this document due to the victim not wanting to be identified. It features disgusting levels of cruelty, financial exploitation, horrific violations of highly personal information, and emotional manipulation. What has been done to Radia is not one-off. it is a pattern. It would be good to actually like lay out that pattern, but okay. An overarching horrifying theme that becomes apparent while collating the information collating the information for this document is that people in this space are genuinely afraid of Adora and actively avoid either telling her private info, as it will immediately be made public or divulged to others, or upsetting her, as she does not forget grudges and will go to rather insane lengths to pursue I don't know those that she feels have wronged her. She is incapable of admitting fault except in cases where it would benefit her. And even when she does, it is done in a way that excuses her actions as much as possible and shifts the blame elsewhere. Furthermore, her behavior seems to worsen the greater the power disparity between her and the opposite party. It is likely no accident that she targeted Radia, who she knew to be emotionally fragile and unable to speak up for herself. Radia has been left mentally scarred. She will take time to recover and may never recover fully, though she has become extremely good at masking her emotions to her audience. To her friends who have spoken to her mask off every day, it is more than obvious the effects that has had. Adam, shut up! Radia will need time to support to be able to recover, and all actions taken after the release of this document will be focused on providing that, not whatever actions Adora may take to discredit her or what has been stated here. This document has not been written in hopes of destroying Adora's content career, nor is it being written because she should be harassed. Both are wrong, and nobody involved in the writing of this document endorses or is calling for such actions. It has been written because all ideas to halt her spreading of lies and correct the record have been exhausted. We've already been over that. Please, Adora, please just go away. Ending statement. I just don't. We've gotten it. Okay, we've document section. Oh, okay, we've gotten it. We are here. Okay, we are here. And as it stands, yeah, Adora's not a good person. Radia is mentally unwell, and I'm just happy that we are done with this document at this point in time. All I can say is what's going on with Adora, with Radia. What Radia went through is wrong. Everything in regards to what Radia went through is wrong. Adora is a bad person, but because I'm going to be fair, and I'm going to tease this now, and yes, you'll probably see this in the video, but I'm going to tease this now because that's the right thing to do here. Let me get this pulled up and made properly. I will, in fact, be going over, not today, I'm going to be doing this tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to be doing this tomorrow or in the next video that you guys see from this. I will go over Adora's document on this. And the only upside I could give Adora is it's 47 pages long and not 93. So that at least helps out. But we will see what goes on there. And at the end of this, we will find a final conclusion, which I think is going to be, hey, everybody's bad in this situation. That's where I'm leading. A lot of bad people are here, and it is what it is. But hey, that dims the brakes right now. As is right now, Adora's twat.